There we go. We are back. Back in the Bulls' rectum. We had to kick this thing off. Blast you guys with some Vietnamese street music. Okay? Straight from the streets of Vietnam. We're brought to you today by Butch Howes, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and MMA, Charleston, West Virginia /LLC. You guys, you know what time it is, okay? I'm telling you time and time again, this is going to help you out no matter what your situation is, right? Mainly, the story that I'm going to use for this one will be for cops, okay? A lot of cops don't know how to treat people, and it's because they're afraid. Their heart is going 200 miles an hour. They have tunnel vision. They want a deadly encounter, but at the same time, they don't want it. So they're just trying to force one, right? Now, jiu-jitsu can take care of that. It can take care of those dangerous confrontations that you cops want. You cops just want to just take somebody down and slam them and just... Now, if you go to advancedbkj.com, you will get the opportunity to slam people down, put your knee on them, turn them on their belly, put your knee in their back, twist their arm. You get to do all of that, man. You get to do it to strangers. And when you do it to somebody, they're happy. They're like, man, thank you. Thank you. So then when you get out there on the streets, you know what? You're a lot calmer because you know you're confident. You're confident that if something goes down on a hand-to-hand level, you can take care of it. If it goes down on you need a firearm, you can take care of it. So cops, stop being little bitches and go to advancedbkj.com and man up. We're also brought to you by Bo Knows Music for quality online music lessons. With the music that we just popped this thing off with, learn how to play like that. The progression, anyway. Learn the music at BoKnowsMusic.com. We're also going to revamp it. That's coming up. Y'all know what time it is. I'm going to keep you, just stay locked in and you'll hear. I'm going to announce it. Last but not least, we're brought to you by Weebly.com. Build you online. Okay? You're not there. You've been thinking about it for several years. You make the best cookies in Chattanooga, but no one's there. No one's there in Chattanooga. Okay? No one's in Chattanooga. Go to Weebly. Matter of fact, go to BowMiles.com, click on the Weebly banner, and sign up today for free. Build your website so that people from all over the world can come to Chattanooga and then go home within a matter of a few seconds. So go to BowMiles.com, click on the link, or go to FitBlue while you're buying a base and click on the Weebly link. Create your website for free, no money obligations, and get this puppy rolling. Now it is time to enter into the artistry of podcast.
Cue the music.
Let me introduce you to Bo Miles, a unique and likable guy. Everyday life, friends and family makes up the artistry.
Like I said, it is time. Yes, it is time. We're back. Fid, what's up?
What up?
Man, so much, man. There's so much to get into. I wanna kick it off with the woman who got arrested at the traffic stop. She switched lanes without using a signal. Normally you think this story ends with a ticket. You think that, okay, First, you're confused because you switch lanes all the time without putting on a signal. So that confuses you. The first thing, that confuses you. So then you say, okay, all right, this place is a little weird, and I guess maybe it's towards the end of the month they have to do their ticket quota. They're low on tickets, so it's like, look, man, hey, Sergeant Ballbuster, we're down, okay? We need more tickets. Revenue is down this month. What are you doing? You letting people go? It's like, oh man, look, if they switch lanes without putting on a signal, give them a ticket, all right? That's $500. Let's get the revenue up. Okay, so that's the first thing that's going to boggle you. Then, all right, after you get past that, you say, okay, well, this story is going to end with a ticket. No, this story ends, before it ends, she goes to jail. You're like, what? And then while she's in jail, she dies. What? She commits suicide. What? Like, this story makes no sense. It just makes no sense. And they released the footage. They released the tapes. And I believe that you figure it took them a long time because they were editing it.
Yep, that's what it looked like.
You know, and here it is. It says, Sandra Bland, autopsy suggests suicide. Her injuries were not consistent with a homicide. This is what the Texas prosecutor says. And they expect people to believe it. Like, it doesn't matter what the prosecutor or the prosecution say. They're not even trying to convict cops anyway. You know, like if the prosecution goes after cops and they're known for, okay, we're after cops, we all know that this is just a gang. The police department of whatever city is just a gang. It's just another gang. And just like you have your Bloods, your Crips, your street gangs, you know, North and Bond. What's up? It doesn't matter where you are. You have your little 13-year-old, 15, 16, whatever year old gangs. This is just a 40 and 50-year-old guy gang. That's all the police department is. It's just a gang. And it's like, all right, well, we're not going to protect you. You come after us, we're going to come after you. And that's what they're sending. They're asking people to snitch, but yet they're not snitching. But yet they want the community to snitch. You know, like, this is just ridiculous. She didn't put out, let's take it from the top, man. She gets pulled over. He asked her to
well, take it back a little farther.
All right, go ahead.
In her words, she was in the far left lane. He approached her with speed. So naturally, people want to get out of the way of the police. So that's what predicated her to make the lane change, to move over, to allow him to pass. But that was not his objective. His objective was to get her to make that lane change without the signal. And that's what she did. Now take it from there.
So he provokes her to change the lane without using a signal. Then he goes up to her. I guess he asks her for her license and registration. And then, while she's smoking.
Hold on. When he first approached the car, she doesn't look at him. She looks straight while he's talking to her. And he asks her, is she okay? And she responds. He asks for her license and registration, so she gives that to him. He goes back to his car, write up a warning ticket, come back, and she continues to look straight ahead. And apparently that offended him, that she wasn't showing him the respect that he felt he was due. She basically, and then he said, what's wrong? Do you have an attitude? And she said, yes. She answered his question, what's wrong? And he didn't like her answer, basically because he was mic'd. So she basically said things that he didn't want the mic to hear. And that's when he got offended. So now he's going to put his digs in. Okay? Telling her to put her cigarette out. And then she tells him, I'm in my car. Why do I have to put my cigarette out? And that's when it's on.
Yeah, and the big thing is about the request and the command. Now, if an officer commands you to do something, you have to do it.
Well, he said, do you want to put that cigarette out? Those were his words. And she said no.
Right, and why should she have to put out a cigarette?
Well, maybe the smoke her smoke was getting in his face and he didn't want to smell it. I don't know.
But clearly, he was looking for a confrontation. Like he was trying. Some would say, "Oh, well, she wasn't compliant." Like, how compliant? What does she have to do? Say, "Yes, sir."
Well, the tapes speak for themselves. We're not creating anything. We're not making anything up. All I'm doing is conveying what my interpretation happened in the tape. So it's not like we're making up stuff. So the tapes speak for themselves. And he was agitated because she wouldn't look at him. She disrespected him. She dissed him. You diss a Crip, what happened?
Yeah, you having a bad day.
You're having a bad day, and she ended up having a bad weekend.
Yeah, the biggest Crips in America, the police department.
Well, not all cops, because there are some who adhere to the Constitution. Everybody's not trying to get their quota in, whatever their quota may be. Because that's how you get your rank, by being and excelling in police work. But Mark Furman accelerated in his police work too when he dropped that glove for O.J. Simpson. So, but not all cops are bad. I know.
Yeah, and I'm not saying all cops are bad, but cops are people, and who knows what type of day he had. He could have had something with his fiance. He could have had something with whatever could have happened, but he brought all of that to that stop. Clearly, this lady didn't even do anything. I didn't see anything as being confrontational. I didn't see her as being confrontational.
Well, sometimes they have to substantiate their position, they have to do things to make things happen the way they want them to happen. There was this 17-year-old boy. He was a little Caucasian boy, and this is on the Facebook also. 17-year-old white boy. He's driving down the street, driving home, leaving his girlfriend's house. A car approaches him. It appears to him that he has his brights on, and he flashed him. And I've done it, and I've had people do it to me, to take your high beams off. Well, it turned out it was a sergeant. And he spun around and came back and asked the boy for his driver's license, insurance, because you flashed me. And the boy said, well, officer, you have your high beams on, and you were blinding me. And he said, I didn't have my high beams on. And so the discussion went on for 14 minutes. And he finally forced the little boy out, the 17-year-old kid, out of the car. And the little boy was trying to videotape for his protection on his camera phone. Well, I guess that offended the officer too, because he eventually knocked the phone out of his hand, had the boy on the ground, tased him in the back. 17-year-old, tased him in the back, and before it was over, he shot the kid 7 times. claims the kid hit him in the face, and he was losing consciousness. The kid punched him in the face. He was losing consciousness, and he shot him 7 times. In the head, the leg, the back, the stomach, 7 times. The boy died. They said because the boy did not follow directions, the cop was justified. He was afraid for his safety because he was passing out. To protect himself, he killed the boy. He's back on the job. So,
man, I tell you.
You know, we should start a program. How to survive a police stop.
Did you see that Facebook video where they have how to survive a police stop, man?
Yeah. Let's all do that and be good citizens, drive within the speed limit, stop crime, and put a cop out of work. You know, if there's no crime, they don't have a need for all these cops.
Man, I mean, and you figure just whatever the few cops that are out there, you know. Here, let's see this. How to survive a crazy cop. Let's see if this will.
The only reason you're not in handcuffs going to jail and getting summonses in the precinct is because I have things to do. Okay. That's the only reason that's not happening. Because this isn't important enough in there.
My name is Matthew Cook, and this is a survivor's guide to the police. Surviving a confrontational officer. There are a number of citizens watchdog groups who observe and record police misconduct. Their advice is to always be polite and never engage with a confrontational officer.
You disrespected me, this badge, and my department. You understand me? When I'm talking to you, you shut your mouth.
All right, he's slamming them down.
Am I being detained, or am I free to go?
It's unusual behavior is what we're doing.
I'm assuming I'm being detained. Am I being detained or not?
You can go, sir.
Thank you.
If you're not being detained, then leave immediately. If you are being detained, provide identification very slowly.
Oh, this is crazy when the guy goes in. They start shooting him.
Watchdog groups estimate the number of citizens killed by police is over 1,000 per year. Once an agitated officer safely has your identification, you're going to want to be very quiet. The police are legally allowed to lie to you, which means they may try to trick you. So when dealing with a confrontational or agitated officer, never answer questions.
I don't answer questions. I don't answer questions.
You don't answer questions?
That's correct.
What's the reason for that?
I don't answer questions.
And if a cop asks if they can check your pockets, look in your car, or come inside your house, do not, under any circumstances, physically resist. But exercise your Fourth Amendment rights and politely say, I do not consent to searches without a warrant.
Get a warrant.
Would you allow us to check your house?
Get a warrant.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Searches can lead to damage to your property that you won't be compensated for. And if a dirty cop conducts a search, they may find something that was never there to begin with. Unfortunately, no matter what you do, you still may end up being searched.
You have no right to be in here. Do not touch her. You are assaulting her.
Here's the bad news. Even if the search is completely illegal, the U.S. Supreme Court just ruled that as long as the cop's misunderstanding of the law is a reasonable one in the eyes of the court, whatever they find is still going to be admissible. That means that ignorance of the law is an excuse, but only if you're a police officer. The most important lesson of today is this. If you do find yourself detained or arrested by an agitated or aggressive police officer, don't say anything. Just politely ask for an attorney.
If you want to keep that cocky attitude up, you want to say to me, you want to talk to a lawyer and all this.
No matter how intimidating they get, be silent and politely request an attorney. I hope you can afford a good one.
Man, that's just, I mean, this is where we are now in society.
Well, if Matt Cook is where I got that story that I told you. So if you go to his website, it talks about that 17-year-old kid and how he was executed.
And you figure, man, all of this is just...
And it's just, statistically, there are more whites killed by police than there are blacks.
That's because of the country. I mean, you figure we're a minority, so everything has to be really in minority numbers. Even though they'll try to manipulate the numbers to say like, okay, there's a heavy black population in prison, but in actuality, white people make up the majority of the prisoners. But because of the numbers, you can do black numbers to population to get a higher number, and then you just quote that statistic. So that way and they do that all the time, and that's why it's so hard to even listen to that stuff.
Let's do this. Let's have a moratorium on crime for a week and see what happens. What are they going to do? Turn on each other?
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like it's really ridiculous, man. It really is, because like when we go back to this case in Texas, it's like it ends up with a death. And like you said, I mean, he was provoking something to happen, just speeding it up on her, because nothing happened. Like if he pulled her over for something that he initiated, it's like, come on, man.
That's why she was so upset. That's what her position was. I don't know what to say, man. I mean, I watched the tape yesterday, the videotape yesterday at about 7:30 in the morning, before everybody else started taking it and cutting it up and putting beeps and stuff in it. I listened to the raw version of it, and even the raw version had jumps in there. And if anybody know about anything about police videotapes, they have the time rolling at the bottom, right-hand corner. You can always see the time, know exactly what time that incident took place. Well, what we saw was zoomed in. So apparently, they zoomed it in so you couldn't see what was happening at the edge of the car, because more than likely, they were in the picture without it being zoomed in. From zooming it in, meaning they cut out the time and everything, you couldn't see them over on the side of the sidewalk. And in addition, if you look at it and pay attention, there are cars passing the patrol car. They come to make a left-hand turn, then they disappear. Poof. Then they come back again, the same car come back again, and turn left, and before it can finish its left turn, poof, it disappears. So something happened. Somebody's edited the video in more than one way, and it's just too much. That's just too coincidental. It's just too coincidental.
Man, and we had a guy, because what we're talking about is some people just really aren't meant to be cops. Like they're just not, like they're criminals. Like that's what they are. I mean, because cops and robbers, and I said this in one of my episodes called Cops and Robbers, where it was a game that, the whole idea of that song was the same people make up cops and robbers. Like when we played the game, we all were the same. We were the same people, but one time we took on the role as cops, we might take on the role as robbers. Like they are the same. Cops and criminals are the same. Like what it takes to be a criminal is the same thing that it takes to be a cop. The person who wants to be a cop, 9 times out of 10, was a criminal, even if he didn't get caught. Yes, cops, I said it. You have a criminal mind. And what we're seeing, and we have seen throughout the years, even with back in the 40s or the 20s, just with racism, we see that these cops are criminals, and it's really just no excuse for it. You guys, yes, not all, but some, you're criminals, and you're so far on the criminal side that it's ridiculous. And what is it going to take? Because, like I said, I had a guy that I was working with who wanted to be a cop, right? So he went to school, got his degree in criminal justice and maybe something else, and he was taking the test, but he couldn't pass it. So I believe he's from New Jersey, and he came down. Now, Camden is like, their crime rate is off the charts in Camden, New Jersey. So, I don't know if he was trying to be a cop in Camden or what, but, I'm guessing that might be an easy place to be a cop.
So what did he do? He came to West
Virginia? Yeah, so he came to West Virginia to try to be a cop because he couldn't be a cop wherever in New Jersey.
Okay.
And he's just not passing the test, so
Is it a written test, or is it something in his background, or what?
Well, I think it's like a psychological profile
evaluation.
Yeah, psychological evaluation that he's not passing, And I don't know if it's that, okay, look, man, you're just not vicious enough. Because remember, in World War I, they found out that more the U.S. guns, right, were not fired. They found that a bulk of U.S. guns were not fired. And they wanted to fix that because American soldiers were over there and they weren't shooting. They weren't taking the shot. They weren't taking the shot. So a lot of guns were never fired during World War I. So they wanted to change that. And they implemented the new system, which they have now, where you take a few steps, and then you raise up and then you just shoot, run, pop, pop, shoot. You see something, we see it all the time where you have a civilian, then all of a sudden you have a bad guy, you just shoot. And they do those drills so that, and they started this for World War II, during World War II. They started it so that when the soldier was presented in front of the battle, they would automatically take the shot. That was the whole purpose. Jamie P. What's up, man? You good? Yeah, Doc. So, we got Jamie P coming in unannounced. It's not anything official, so it's not like he going to jump on. But we were planning some hot stuff, so whenever you're ready, we're going to get it in, man. But like I was saying, they came up with these drills where, you had the criminal, you had the civilian, and you just had to take the shot. Like that was it. And it was prep. It was just getting you ready to take the shot. And they do it. Like they've been doing it since then and perfecting that art. So now they got it down. They got it down packed now, man. Like, cops today, like I just had training. We just had safety training for the school. For shooters, because I accepted that position.
Right.
So the sergeant, he came down and he was like, look, and they were saying things that you do and things that you don't do. And one of the things they said that you don't do is pick up the weapon. Like never. So if you have a shooter come in your school, hopefully if y'all get them down, put the gun in the trash can. Do not have a gun because their training is to come in, they see the gun, they take the shot. Bop, bop. In the military, they take 2 to the chest, 1 to the head. Like that's their that's their drill. They drill it.
That's an assassin's shot. Double tap in the chest and 1 in the head, man.
Yeah, and you have to be prepped for it. So I don't know if my coworker, I don't know if my coworker, he wasn't getting a job because they was like, look, man, this is too much hesitation in him. He's not gonna,
Well, they probably asked him if you were put in a situation, would you take the shot? And he probably said, I'd probably try to sit down and have a cup of tea with him and work it out and figure it out.
Yeah, so I don't know if that was it or if he was just too look, man, this guy is gonna kill us. He's white guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, man. And just working with him, I would say he was a fairly decent guy. Yeah, he was cocky as far as like a little arrogant, but hey.
Well, you know what? If you run into him again, does he have a bachelor's degree?
Yes, he has. I think he has 2 bachelor's degrees.
Tell him to put in an application with the FBI or the CIA.
Yeah, I think he's working with. He's at one of those at the jail. Can you hear?
Yeah.
Yeah, he works as like a correctional officer or something. He's something at a jail.
Okay.
Now, so I don't know how that's going.
Well, working in the prison, he gonna get tough, or he gonna get raped by the prisoners.
Yeah, he said he gonna get tough.
Yeah, he gonna get tough or get raped, one of the two. So.
Yeah, man. I mean, but like that's the type, and you figure they have this training. They have when you pull somebody over, that training, and you figure they have it to where, okay, because I mean, all right, there are some sticky situations. There are some real criminals out there, and when you go up to a car, you might lose your life. We watch it all the time on these videos where these cops are getting shot up and dying.
Well, everybody wants to go home. Everybody wants to go home after a day's work. Everybody wants to go home after an evening of partying. And I can understand policemen's misgiving about approaching the car. And a lot of communities nowadays, see, back in the day, cops were 2 per car. So you automatically had your backup with you. And there was less of a chance for somebody to draw down on you because you came in from both sides. One person came on the driver's side and one person came on the passenger side. And they had a triangulation on everybody in the car. Well, now you've got one person in a vehicle and he's calling for backup. Well, his closest backup may be 3 to 5 minutes away. So now he's there by himself and he has to control and maintain the situation by himself. So naturally they're going to be edgy, very edgy, and I can understand that. And they want to go home. So they're going to make sure they go home. And even if they make a mistake, they want to go home. So it's imperative of us to make him feel comfortable when he's addressing us, you know, because I want to go home too, you know. And when I'm stopped, I request, can I do this? When they say, give me your driver's license and your proof of registration and proof of insurance, I say, okay, officer, may I reach in my back pocket and take my wallet out? And I keep both hands on the steering wheel up until that point. And you can be right. You can be 100% right with that cop. But you can be dead right. And that's what you got attorneys for. You know, if you got to go to court, or if he decides he wants to arrest you, you got an attorney. You know, keeping it real is not always the answer. It's not. You know, he's got total control. They may have all the videotapes in the world of what he did to you, but you're still dead. So.
Yeah, I believe the guy from New York who got choked because of the cigarette. He was selling cigarettes. I believe it was Eric something. I don't know if it's Eric Garner or whatever, but his family, they have 2 settlements. One was public. It was I believe it was like $8 million from the police department or from the city and state, and then they had another one that was undisclosed. So, you know, I mean, yeah, your family. And see, that's the thing, man. I mean, it gets so desperate in the hood that you're willing to sacrifice yourself, and that's what we have done in America. Even with the wars, it's like, okay, you're enlisting because it's like, all right, if I die, hopefully I can be more of a financial blessing to my family in death than I am in life.
I don't believe that was his intent.
No, not him, not Eric. But I'm saying, you know.
Well, see, he had history with that same cop that choked him out. And in the past, the same cop arrested him for doing the same thing, selling cigarettes. And apparently, he made him disrobe in public, drop his pants in front of everybody. I mean, okay, this is what you want, officer? That's what you do.
Yeah, and they do that, man.
Okay. now you're going to see something that you ain't used to seeing. You know? But comply with these guys. I mean, let me ask you this. If a strong-arm robber stopped you and had a gun on you with the threat of your life, would you stand there and debate with him, or would you do what he asked you to do?
Yeah, I would do what he.
Okay.
To some degree, yes, I would do.
Okay.
What he
And maybe that's how we have to treat police then. That, you know, give them the respect they want, let them do their job, and if you don't think you deserve a ticket, don't stand there and argue with him, because he's made his decision. Go ahead, take the ticket, fight it in court. If he don't show up to court, they kick it out. Or if he shows up to court, have your attorney with you. They'll delay it, and then eventually they'll kick it out. Or they may say, okay, just pay the court costs and leave. But it's not worth your life. None of this stuff is worth your life. Nothing. Keeping it real is not worth your life, really. I mean, now, the version of the tape that I heard about, I mean, she called him everything but a child of God.
Oh, so she let him have it.
Oh,
huh?
she called him all kind of bitch-ass pussies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You just a pussy. And that's the worst thing you can say to a man. Especially a man with, a short man. Because she's like 6 foot. So when she stepped out the car, she was towering over him. So it was a whole bunch of dynamics going on, you know, that short man syndrome. And it's like that one where the little girls were at the swimming pool.
Yeah.
And the cop, the very cop that put his hands on the girl in her bikini, he was running around diving on the ground, doing tumbles on the ground.
What was that about? What was those? Like,
I don't get it, bro. But you know, that's the mentality we're dealing with, and you can't. And it's not every cop, but see, they're a brotherhood. It's like me and my frat. You know, together. You know, well, I don't know. Today is like, I ain't taking no criminal charges for these MFs. So, you know, at some point in time, you know, people are gonna start cutting, and you know, they're not gonna back each other, because now videotapes are busting them out. You know, whatever story you want to tell, but the video don't lie. You know, like the one cop, he was after this guy for a warrant for failure to pay child support. Okay? Somebody had the audacity to say he deserved to die because anybody don't take care of the kids deserve to die. Okay, well, guess what? He's definitely not going to take care of them now. But the cop shot him in the back. The cop said he tried to steal his taser from him. Well, some kind of way he had the taser in his hand. Cop might have handed it to him. He threw it down right in front of the cop, took off running. Shot him in the back 8 times with a .45 automatic. Probably was a Glock. 8 times in the back. Then he planted the evidence on him.
Yeah, then he planted the evidence.
I mean, what? Now, if the person hadn't been there videotaping it, his story would have went. Because the black cop that showed up covered his back.
Yeah, it's that gang. Blood in, blood out.
Well, in New York, this Hispanic guy broke into this black cop's car. He was off duty. So he got the cop. The cop caught the guy. The black cop caught the guy who had broken his car. And during his arrest, he was in plain clothes, but cops are always on duty. They're required to carry their service revolvers with them at all times. So they're on 24-hour duty, even though they're not getting paid. They're still on duty. So he accosted the guy who broke in his car, and another cop walked up on him, saw his gun, and shot him. Didn't try to figure out what was going on or anything. Just shot him and killed him.
Oh, yeah, I remember that story.
I mean, there's just so many stories out there. It's just, the times are so violent now till, you might can understand. But if they can't handle that type of work, maybe they need to have a rotation system where they have safety department where 1 year you're acting as a policeman, the next year you're acting as a fireman, you rotate into something else in the office, but you're out there, they're out there in the street. It's just like being in a war zone, because that's what they're there for. They're looking for criminals. They're looking for people with guns. They're looking for somebody who's just murdered somebody. So it's like being in Iraq, and some of the cops can handle it. Some of them thrive in it. Some of them can't. Some of them, they're in the shit, and they hate the people that they have to deal with. So they have a lower level of tolerance for dealing with those people. And sometimes the people are repeat offenders to them. And you lock somebody up, and before your shift is over, you see them back out on the street. So there's a crazy dynamics to all this. And sometimes the innocent get caught up in it. I'm saddened. I truly am. I'm saddened in that my greatest fear is not being killed by a criminal, but being killed by a cop who had a bad day.
Yeah, and that's ridiculous.
That's my greatest fear. And when I first met my wife, I expressed that to her because I'm from the inner city. And I've lived a clean life, a good citizen life, pay my taxes, vote, do all the things that you're supposed to do as I do my civic duty. And the fear is I'm going to get stopped because my license plate light is out, and the cop had a bad day, and I might say the wrong thing. So I have to keep reminding myself of the basic rules. And this is what I do when I get stopped by the cops. I pull immediately over. I don't try to get to a safe spot. I let him tell me to go to a safe spot. I stop immediately and follow his directions. And once I'm parked, I let my window down. If it's nighttime, I turn my interior lights on, cut my car off, put my hands on the steering wheel, and wait for him to get to me. And then I tell him a couple of things, follow his directions. If he wants to see my proof of registration and my proof of insurance, I tell him it's in my glove compartment. Can I reach into my glove compartment and hand this information to you? And I do it slowly.
He said, and I move slowly.
Yeah, I mean, you don't make quick, sudden moves because they want to see your hands. They want to see where your hands are. And they're dealing with crazies all the time. And you get caught up in it, he might be having a bad day. So, I mean, and I'm not making excuses for him because each individual has to reckon with God what he's done. Okay? But all I can say is this is what I do. Because I want to make sure we both have a good day. Because, see, $50, $60 ticket, okay. I can pay that off and go on back to work the next day and make some more money. It's just money. Render unto Caesar what is his. Okay? If that's what they want, give them that money. If a robber stops you, he gonna take everything you got. So sign that ticket. Thank you, officer. You have a great day. Go on about your business. And most times, here's a caveat to all that. Most times, if you show them the respect and you don't have an attitude, They let you go.
Now, see, before the
well, at least in
cameras.
my case.
Oh, all right. In your case,
yeah.
Because I know, like, depending if you're speeding and they clocked you, so because it's on camera, they have to give you a ticket because people review the tapes and.
Well, that's to their discretion, because if you're approaching them here in West Virginia, you don't have a front license plate. So by the time they clock you, they pulling you over, your speed's dropped. So it's pretty much to their discretion whether or not they're going to give you a ticket or the conditions, how far over you're going. And I'll tell you this, when I first came to West Virginia, I was driving a jalopy, which I couldn't get up to 69 miles an hour. Really, I couldn't. But the officer said I was doing 79 miles an hour. At 79 miles an hour, which was 9 miles over the speed limit, you're in a different scenario. But he found out that I was a state employee. He cut me a break and said, okay, well, I'm just going to say you was doing 75 and give you the ticket. Okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to stand there and argue with him? Okay, here's the money.
Yeah, he said, here's the money.
Yeah.
Man, I got a ticket once, and
you wanted to cuss him out?
Nah.
Slap him in his face?
Nah.
You motherfucker.
No, man, I took the ticket. It wasn't a problem, right? So I go down to the courthouse, and the judge, or it's not, whatever they call it. Is it a magistrate? Or?
Yeah, magistrate.
Yeah, so the magistrate, right? You're just you're at his whim, like his or her whim, however they feel, but because you present the ticket. Because I went there before, and whoever, it was a woman, and she was like, don't even worry about it. Like, this is nothing. Don't even worry about it, right? I go there again for a speeding ticket or whatever. Who knows what it was? I think it had to do with something expiring. Maybe my license expired or something expired. And it took me maybe like 2 weeks or maybe more than 2 weeks, right? Let's just say it was 4 weeks. And so when I went to the guy, he was like, yeah, well, you should have took care of this weeks ago. It's no excuse. And
did you tell him, I'm sorry, sir?
Yeah. I was trying, put on the whole front, man. And that's the thing, like, it's tiring. Why do you have to do that? Like, this is not the same time that it was before. Petty
people, their power. You got to understand, that's their power.
Man, they need to be exposed.
Well, here. You know what? You don't ever go into a legal situation without an attorney. Period. If you got to go to traffic court, they could arrest you right then and there. If they so desire, they could have you arrested and take it away. So, you pay your attorney to represent you. That's what you do. Anytime you deal with the law, they're going to get that money from you some way. Somebody's going to get that money. Man, whether it's your attorney or whether it's the court system. And you don't go into legal situations without an attorney. The guy even said it in the YouTube blurb you played. Make sure you have a good attorney.
Man, I remember in high school and in my early college years wondering how the Roman Empire fell. Like, just wondering, like, exactly, yes, we say that, okay, the soldiers were stretched, they stretched themselves too thin. But, man, all of those territories that they conquered that was close to home were rebelling. And you gotta know, just looking at today and looking at America, you gotta know, man, that it was the police, it was the court system, and the people just felt furious with it. Like here you are, you're nobody. You're just a human being, but yet I have to put on this facade and put on this mask that, oh, you are the kid. No, you're nothing. Okay? magistrate, judge, whoever, lawyer, you are nobody. And in actuality, you're nothing but a human being, just like me. We're all humans. Like, that's the reason why we came over to America, was to get away from that crap of the kings and dukes and all of that stuff, right? But now here it is resurfacing again, and you just gotta see that, look, man, like that stuff is just not good, because people eventually will come at, like, there's going to be a point where America, the people, is just going to say, like, look, enough is enough.
Well, let me ask you. You have a daughter and a son at home. Do you want to be a martyr for the cause? Or do you want to just say, okay, sir, I'm sorry. Thank you for letting me know. My headlights were out.
That's going to happen. It's going to happen eventually. It doesn't matter if it's me or the next person, but it's going to happen. And it's only a matter of time. Like, we as America, we have to change, like transparency. The reason, like, okay, if you catch me speeding, you give me a ticket, okay, and even if you like me, I'm a nice guy, I'm your cousin, I'm your brother, give me a ticket. So when you're having a bad day, treat me the same. Like, I shouldn't have to worry about what type of day you're having, you know? And you can shove your day up your ass. I don't care about that. Like, and that's the problem. And the problem is that this system, because you think about it, from back in the 20s, back when there was so much secrecy, back when, you know, like America, and just, it was so much secrecy that no one knew what was going on. Like, even in education, let's just go back to education, back in the 20s, right? Teachers could, you know, physically put their hands on students.
Corporal punishment.
Right? You could do that back then. The neighborhood could do that.
Well, that wasn't that long ago. When I was in junior high school and high school, my first swats that I received in the 7th grade was from a math teacher who turned out to be one of my frat brothers. So he made me first. But let me tell you this. I was wrong. It was a group of us, and we were all wrong. And after that, didn't jack around anymore.
Yeah, I mean, he tried to, you know, inflict fear and pain.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he
did.
Yes, he made. But was that right? Was that right? Was that his responsibility to do that?
Well, my mom wasn't there, and she wasn't going to come there and discipline me. And now the schools are totally out of control since they took corporal punishment out of there.
Yeah, I'm in the front lines, man. My class is off the hook. Like, they are.
Wait till one of them little 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-olds get up in your face and say, "You ain't my daddy." And
yeah, I had to tell a student, like, look, I am not your father. I am not your mother. Do not kick my leg. Do not kick my foot. You know, I had to tell him that, like, these kids, yes, all right, if I had violence, if I could beat them, yes, it would be a different dynamic, but do I have the right to beat them? No.
You send his little butt down to the principal and tell him that he can't come back in. You tell the principal he can't come back into my room until his parents come and have a talk with me. They need to discipline him.
They're going to argue. Like, you know, because what happened before, they got into an argument with the teacher before, and there was a big blowout. I wasn't there. You
have the principal there. If you think you need security guards, you have them there. But the parents now have to take responsibility. See, a parent take off a day of work without pay because Johnny was acting up. Johnny gonna get his little butt whooped when you get home.
Not all the kids get whipped.
Well,
unfortunately,
most likely those are the parents who aren't working, who can just cavalierly come up there and, you know. But a good, hard-working citizen have to take a day off and not be paid because Johnny is at 7 years old is disrupting the class. Wait till Johnny gets 16, 17. What is he gonna do then?
Yeah, 20, 30. You know, you get a small window in your life for education. It's only a small window out of 100 years, 80 years. You talking about 12? That's not. That's nothing.
Well, everybody get 12. I mean, you got to do more than that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just the basic 12. that is offered to you for free. You know, like, look, man. So just what I'm saying even with the education is that times have changed. And even looking at the school system, the way it is in America, where you go to school and then you get the summer off. Well, that came from the farmers, a farming tradition where we need the kids to help with the crops, right?
little indentured servants.
Right? I mean, that's where that system comes from, but yet we're still using it, and it's really not effective. You have that long break off, and most of the students, when they come back, they're behind a little bit.
Well, they've forgotten everything they learned. And here's a caveat. Japan, they go to school the whole year round, and after regular school, they have special schools. But here's the thing, though. They have a very high suicide rate among students.
And they have they have an elite type of thing when it comes to education. Education isn't offered to everyone like it is in America.
Well, you have to pass a certain amount of tests, so certain tests to go to that higher level. And once you pass that test and you get to go to the college or the elite school of your choice, they goof off. They goof off and party.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Once they get there, they're in.
When they compare the statistics or the scores, and you have, countries outperforming America, but every student, unlike America, every student does not go. It's not offered an opportunity for education.
Okay, I understand your point now. And that's probably what they're comparing us to, the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
but like cream floats to the top, so too does scum.
I like that one. So. You said like cream floats to the top, so does scum.
Yeah, so, it's just a different world, and, there are always end times. In every generation there's end times, and hopefully we get past this one.
Yeah. I'm real, like, when I talk about the Rome thing and how it came to an end, like, I don't want America to come to an end. I want America to prosper.
You're misunderstanding. The Roman Empire still exists. France was a part of the Roman Empire. England, Spain, all Europe, Russia, everybody was a part of the Roman Empire. And what they would do is, when they would conquer those countries, they would take the sons of the kings and send them to Rome and educate them, then send them back home to rule for Rome. So, Great Britain, the British Empire, where do you think they learned all that violence from?
I mean, yeah, they learned the ways, but a lot of them used what they learned to fight and to bring down Rome. Like a lot of the Turks and that were conquered.
Those were just barbarians and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, but even the wording, I mean, they were people just like us. And whenever we want to attack someone, we call them barbarians or cannibals or rapists. That's what we do now anyway. We don't even use barbarians and cannibals. We use rapists.
But no, there was
criminals.
There was a country called barbarians.
Yeah, he said no, there was a country called barbarians.
Well, this is what it was. Ba. That's a sheep. So the Romans, when they would mock the other people, like the British, to them, their language sounded like sheep. So they would go ba. And that's where barbarians come from. That's where it comes from. So they were calling the British, the French, and whoever else barbarians.
Yeah, and I want to say that it has some type of root in the Islamic culture as well. I could look it up, but I'm not going to worry about the story. But yeah, man, but the whole idea is that police, the way that they're functioning now is outdated. Like they need to rethink everything, even just the whole judicial, what is it? Not judicial. Yeah. So the whole judicial system needs to be revamped, reevaluated, because like those old school times and those old school ways is gone. And yes, a little bit of it is false. Yes. Like my daughter, we had to take her to get a needle. get some blood drawn, right, so that they can check her and make sure everything was right as far as her sugar and cholesterol and, you know, just your basic stuff. So when we're in there, she was like, no. She's like, I don't want to do this, right? She was afraid. She was like, no, I don't want the needle. And, I just looked at her. I'm like, you know, I'm just smiling. It's funny to me, right? No, you know, I'm not worried about needles, but it's like, in her mind, she believes.
I am.
She believes in her mind that she can just say, you know what, I don't want to do it. I'm not doing it. Like, no, I don't want to do it. No, it's all right. I'm not doing this. So then she got to the point where she was like, I'm not doing this. So I'm laughing because it's like, it's funny that you believe that you have the will, that you have
the say so, the
yeah,
authority.
That you have the authority.
You should say, from whence cometh thou authority?
It's like, yo, you don't have no authority. You have no power. And you believe, I don't know why, but you believe that you did. And now this is a good learning opportunity for you to realize that you
recognize.
Don't.
So here's the magic question. Did she give up the blood?
Of course. With force.
Ooh.
Force over matter equals acceleration. So I had to restrain her, get the arm.
Where was her mother?
Her mom was there. She was just freaking out and.
Well, if she don't want to do it, we're not gonna make her do it.
No, she was more like, come on, let's do this. Let's do, trying to talk her down. And my daughter was like, well, I'll do it over here. Okay, I'll do it in the back of the room. I'll do it in the front of the room. I'll do it in the center. So okay, so we went to the first place. Okay, I'll do it in the back room. Okay, let's go to the back room. I'll go back to where we were. I'll do it there. So once we got there, I was like, look. And then she was like, well, let me go. And it was like, nah. We've played enough.
Did she run?
Yeah.
She tried to run?
Yeah, she tried to run.
You called her, come here. Don't you run from me.
Yeah, man. So then I had to get her in side control.
Ooh.
And, that's when my jiu-jitsu.
Did you choke her out?
No. And see, no. And this is why cops need to train jiu-jitsu, man. I was able to get her in side control, isolate the arm where it was perfectly extended without any pressure. She, it wasn't like she was in pain. She couldn't.
From the arm bar, right. Okay.
Right. So she wasn't in pain. Her arm was isolated. The nurse Mike is, all right, so Mike is going in. But the nurse was able to wipe down her arm, clean it, get the needle in, no problem, right? That was all jiu-jitsu right there. I used jiu-jitsu.
Did you use any Chin-Nu on her?
No. Cause, stuff like that, like that stuff is painful. So jiu-jitsu is not.
But see, she would have focused on that pain.
Yeah.
As opposed to the needle.
Yeah. But see, and that's the thing, man, like, just with jiu-jitsu, you're able to, subdue your,
opponent,
your adversary, and you can do it humanely. And that's the thing, man. That's why, like cops, man, they should really spend time and really learn it because I think a lot of that stuff just has to do with confidence. I feel like cops are not confident in their ability to handle a situation. Yes, some those stop and pops, yes, that's needed. Okay. Brandish a gun, boom, pop, 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 2 to the chest, 1 to the head. All right, okay, I can understand that, and some people will say, well, why don't you just shoot him in the arm or the hand or, no, hey, but I feel like if you can feel confident in your hand-to-hand ability to subdue a resistant opponent, when it's time for you to stop, whether it's a little 13-year-old girl at the pool and she has her bathing suit and she's running her mouth, right, you feel like, okay, I know that if I needed to, get the takedown, I could go into side control easily without her, hurting herself or me, and just kind of let her know, like, hey, look, let's not escalate this,
Well, he should have called for a female officer.
Yeah.
Because you can't win when you put your hands on a young lady in a swimsuit.
Yeah.
You can't win.
I mean, look at Chris Brown, man. He hit Rihanna after she was saying those type of words. Like, we know, man, like the black woman has a dangerous tongue, okay? Like, you need to look, guys. If you're not black, and you're not familiar with it. There needs to be trained. Cops should be trained in the black woman's sharp tongue because it will cut you up, man. It will cut you up.
Yo, pussy ass. Pussy?
Yeah.
Woo.
The blood clot boy, pussy boy.
Batty boy.
Yeah, batty boy. You know, like, look, man, the black woman's tongue is sharp. The black American woman's tongue is sharp. It will cut you up.
I don't care where you are. Jamaica, Nigeria, Libya, Liberia. Women are the same.
Nah, it's not like the African American woman.
I've been through a lot of them. I know, man. You got to step up on them hard, bro. You know, I got brands all over me. So
I got brands.
You see this brand right here?
It's hard.
It's hard. I'm hardcore. You know.
Yeah, man. They can be definitely a handful. I think police officers need to be trained in that because it's a different in jiu-jitsu and in
how do
the
they
African
do it in
American
England?
woman.
How do they do it in England? Because the police over there aren't allowed to carry guns.
Right.
And yes, police get killed over there, but I believe just as many police get killed over there as they do here, and the cops here have guns. So, but it's against the law to even own guns in England. So,
but see, they have censorship. Like, you figure, man, like when video games come out in other countries, a lot of the content gets taken out. Certain things get taken out.
In England?
Yeah, in the UK and just all over in different, countries.
Uh-huh.
But so if you want the real exclusive game, you have to play the American version. That's usually the way it is. And so it's so much
uncut.
Yeah, it's uncut. Like, and see, and this
is
when we go back, like I said, man, in World War I, because this is what you gotta know, man, that the way that the culture is going, right? The whole idea is that, look, we need people ready for war. That's what America is like, a training ground. And it's just, just that violence is there because it's in our games, it's in our movies. It's everywhere. It's just getting you prepared. Like my son, he plays Call of Duty. And remember, you came over one time and watched him. He was playing that army game, just coming in, pop, 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 just shooting, killing, right? All of these games. And I'm not against it. Like I played those games as a youngster, and yes, they're fun, they're entertaining, but it's preparing you for something. These games, just this culture that we live in America, is preparing you for something. What is it preparing you for? It's preparing you for World War III. It's preparing you for violence. It's preparing you so that they have minimal training. So that when you go to become a cop, let's say you were just born, let's say,
72, 73.
Let's say, 72, 73.
And that's old. That's 45 almost.
Yeah. Right? I mean, just think about the movies. Think about the upbringing that you went through if you were born in the 70s, right? So that means by the 80s you were a teenager.
What's the number one movie out right now? What violent movie do most people still recognize and associate with?
Man, it's hard to tell. So many.
Scarface.
Oh yeah, especially for the black culture. Yeah.
Scarface.
Scarface is like Jesus, like Al Pacino. He should have played Jesus in the 90s. Like that's who should have played Jesus, because that's like that's our Jesus for the hood. Like the hood Jesus is Scarface. Everyone knows it. Everyone watches it. They all have a copy of it like it's the Bible. It's preparing you for something.
It's gonna see the face.
It's preparing you. Like, and that's the thing, man. It's preparing you, man. So when it seeps into the schools and you have these shootings and it seeps into the theater, it's like, good job. Really, it's good job, because that's what they want. They want minimal training. Okay, you're 20 years old. At first, how long did it take? It took me a long time to train you to get ready to kill, to set your humanity aside and just take the shot. It took a while. You figure even basic training, you figure they don't even focus on a lot of those other aspects anymore as far as the shooting. You don't even spend that much time for shooting. And most soldiers that go through basics, most Marines, the Marines that I know, they all say that they didn't spend a lot of time with the actual shooting aspect of it, but they loved it. That's the part that they love, which, you know, that's a testament to our culture. You know, that was the best part. But they don't spend a lot of time with weapons because they don't need to, especially with with the soldiers of today. It's like, look, man, I mean, I got you killing already on video games. You're 10.
Well, what about survival skills? Are they stressing survival skills? Because you got 100 men, I got 100 men. We have a battle. I kill 60 of your men, you kill 40 of mine. I just won. So are they teaching them survival skills?
Man, who knows? I mean, we might have to get a soldier on. Well, of course, but just like any guest, it's only a certain point that a guest is willing to go with the truth. You know, like me and you, I try to be as honest and upfront as I can. Now, some things I can't say that I would, like when I turn this thing off and me and Fid talk, there's a lot of words that I use that I don't use on the podcast. And I know that I'm being fake. Why am I being fake? Because I have a job. Like, I'm not trying to get fired.
Well,
and that's what we get with the guests. The guests are only willing to go so far, and then they're like, well, you know, I can't talk about that. I can't do this. So.
Well, now, officially, I'm a retired public official. Okay. So I've worked with law directors, chief of police. One of my best friends was a chief of police. Okay. And so I matter of fact, I've dealt with at least 3 chief of police. So I know what they go through. I know what the police go through. And as a former public servant, that's why I know how to address myself to a cop. Okay? They just want to be respected. Some of them want the fight, but most of them want the respect, period. You know, just like the street thug. You catch them on a bad day and you say something wrong to them, you flash, you make a hand gesture.
Yeah, you step on his shoes.
Step on the shoes. You step on the shoes. There's no recourse. You just dead. So, I don't know. I'm torn. I really am. I don't know if had she thrown the cigarette outside on the other side, would he have gotten her for littering? Okay. You don't know, because when you put a cigarette out, it's smoldering. So I don't know if there was anything she could have done, because she didn't start cursing until he started talking about her cigarette. That's when all of the profanity came, when he started talking about get out the car.
And then before she even got out, he said, I will light you up. But he pulled out his taser and aimed it at her and said, like, I'll light you up. He said something as far as lighting or frying or.
You light her up. Yeah, that's what he meant. I'll tase you. And some of the cops are pulling the trigger and holding them. They're not just firing it. As long as you hold that trigger, there's a current passing through. And there was one incident where the officer pulled the trigger 4 times. That individual died. So, I mean, you're at their mercy. So, how to survive a police stop? You know, and that's what the title of this one should be: How to Survive a Police Stop.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we definitely went a long time on the cop thing, but hey, man, we don't just come in here and say like, hey, this is what we're gonna do. No, it's organic, man. So yeah, I might name it something like 911 is a joke or who knows what, but or how to survive a police stop.
Let's say this. We want to influence the public. We want to inform the public. We don't want to incite them. So, you know, telling them how to survive a police stop can be very beneficial. But, and I'm not challenging what you said, but people sometimes listen to what we say, and you know they say, you know, 911 is a joke, or back in the day, back in the 70s, they would say they would call police pigs, their wives are sows, and their children are sucklings. we don't want to incite anything like that. That's we're here to educate.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just call for transparency. That's
okay.
all I call for.
Okay. And I'm not trying to castigate you, because you're a grown man. You know, you choked me out.
Oh no.
So
no.
But we want to be a positive. We want to be those role models. We want to be the people who tell the truth and tell it like it is, but be non-biased in it.
Yeah. And like you said, man, there are good people out there. There are good cops. There are good judges, magistrates, and just all the professions, you know. But we also have those people who, I can't even say that they're bad, but they're not thinking about others.
They're misguided
and just
and you know something,
introverted in their thinking.
Some of those cops are ex-military. I don't know what the percentage is. Maybe they should start looking at it. But they're coming from Iraq. They're coming from Iran, and they already have battle fatigue, as they used to call it, or post-traumatic stress disorder. And they might think they're on the front again.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, because you're not supposed to say gun to a policeman. You're supposed to say, I'm carrying a concealed weapon, officer. You don't say, I'm carrying a gun, officer. I'm carrying a concealed weapon. And so gun, that's the word they use, gun. And everybody's drawing and firing. So you can't say gun, officer. I'm carrying CCW. You don't even want to say the word weapon. I'm CCW, officer. And it's a whole different scenario then. But I don't know. I'm going to tell you, I'm just torn over this. When I watched that video of that lady yesterday, tears came to my eyes. Because there was no, the things she said to him. If she didn't die, she was going to get jacked up, period. Because once they get you in the car, like the guy in, what was that, the Jamaican, or what was he? He died in the back of the paddy wagon.
Oh yeah, Baltimore, Freddie Gray.
Okay, Baltimore. Once they get you in your handcuffs, you can't win.
Yeah. And like you said, man, with that Charleston incident where the guy, we saw that he had the taser, but he put it down and he ran away, and then the cop shot him in his back 8 times and then walked over and planted. If we didn't have the footage, that story would have stuck. So just imagine how many stories out there are sticking that they're lying, you know, because they're trained. They have, think about it, man. It's a sophisticated, well-organized system. They have guys out there who kill people, right, or arrest. I don't want it to be negative, but they also have another level of guys who study crime scenes. This is what they do. They study blood spatter. They study just the physics, and they really can break down. They can look at the tire marks. They can look at your footprints. Like, they study crime scenes. This is the only thing that they do to catch criminals. And you have that same department that's in the gang, right? Where this is a gang. So my brother's a frat. My brother, look, man, I need your help, man. Help me construct this. You got to believe that it happens, because if they didn't have the videotape, that would have stuck. That cop story that he stole my taser would have stuck, man. It would have stuck. Even remember the fire officer, the fireman who got into a fight with the cop on his wedding night, and the cop shot him and killed him. That was caught on film, right? Now the fireman.
No, I didn't hear about that.
Oh man, this was crazy. The fireman, both of them were white, and this is sad. The fireman, he was a wrestler, like, and no one said it, but trust me, like, he was a wrestler. Like, I could just tell you by the way he got a sweep, he got a takedown, like, the way he was handling this cop, man, was like, yo, stop.
What were they fighting over?
It was his wedding night. It was the fireman's wedding night, and he was just yelling out. Yeah, he was out in the alley, him and his wife, his new wife, and
they were fighting?
No. He was just, yelling like, woohoo, just celebrating. He was celebrating, and the cop was like, are you drunk? And the fireman was like, no. Like, nah, I'm all right, man. Yeah, I had a couple drinks, but I'm all right, and everything is okay. And the cop was trying to, I guess, take him in for being intoxicated or
examining
something.
Him?
Right? Yeah, just trying to keep, pressing it, and the guy was refusing him like, no. And then the cop tried to grab him and maybe take him down. And yeah, man, this fireman, like I said, there's nothing that says that he was a wrestler, but I can tell, like, just looking at it, because it's up on YouTube, man. And like I said, when he tried to take him down, he easily reversed the cop, because the cop got him down, right? He easily reversed him. He was on top. I don't know if he hit him, because just by the fireman, like, I don't know if the fireman hit him or not, but, he definitely reversed him. The cop was on his back. The cop pulled out his gun and just shot him. And the fireman, he was like, you shot me. And then the fiance, it was a wedding. They all came, was like, oh. And one of the friends, the bridemaid or whoever, she was a nurse, and you could hear it. And she was trying to help him. He was like, please don't let me die. Please don't let me die. And she was like, man, you shouldn't, why did you get into it with the cop? Why did you get into it with the cop? And it's like, man, what? Like, come on, man. You think he was going to kill you?
Well, it's easy.
Take the L, man. Take the L.
It's easy to say, why didn't you comply? Why didn't you comply? And, some of the comments on Facebook was like, well, if Sandy had complied, she'd still be alive. We don't know. Once a cop get it in his mind that he's been disrespected, he's got to take it. It's like when the policeman pulls out the dog on you. Okay? That dog gonna bite you. That cop's gonna let that dog bite you because that's the dog's reward. So you can stand there and be still and not move or anything. They're gonna let that dog bite you because that's what that dog's trained to do. And he wants that bite. That's his reward. So how can you stand there and let a dog bite you? Oh boy.
Yeah, but you're right, man. He has to, that's his training. I mean, he has to, so, man, that's the weird thing, man. And, like you said, people our listeners, just keep these things in mind, especially like, the young guys, the young gals, they feel like my daughter, for that needle, like they feel like they have a little bit more authority and power than what they really
they gotta
do.
say so. Okay. So how many bills do you pay? And if you was on your own, you'd starve. So
yeah.
So how are you making decisions about which direction your life go into?
Yeah. So and I'm afraid for my son. I'm afraid for my son that
you better be afraid for yourself too.
Yeah, I mean,
cause see, you can't choke no cop out, man.
No. That fireman, he showed me that. Like, look, and see, this is the thing, man. Like, I remember back in the hood, man. I took L's, and it prepped me for situations like this. I remember, man, it was a guy named Erskine, and I was walking through me and him, we went to school together. We were this happened when I was in the 4th grade. Me and Erskine, we were in class from like the 1st all the way up until the 4th when he just stopped coming. I don't know if he dropped out of school. Like Erskine, he just lived like a rough life, right? So
probably got choked out.
So I'm walking through his neighborhood. I see him, right? Like I said, man, I'm in the 4th grade. I see him. Hey, what's up, Erskine? He has his friends. There's a whole bunch of them. And he comes over. He's like, hey, what's up? What's up, Bo? And then he like grabs me. At that point, like I knew that, okay, he's serious. Like it's not he's not playing, right? So he grabs me, he pulls my shirt over my arms, right? And then he's just hitting me. So I'm mainly worried about all the other kids that are around, right? So I'm like, dude, I'm getting hit. I'm like, oh man, stop. So then I'm like, all right. And I remember thinking this, like, okay, maybe I need to cry, maybe then they know that it's over. So I start crying and, I'm just taking, and the hits didn't even hurt. Like, I just knew, like, okay, if I fight them back and if I get the best of them, they just going to jump in, right? They just going to jump. They're not going to let, like, you figure I'm a stranger. None of them knows me, right? It's like, look, man, little Erskine, he's beating up this guy. But if this guy starts beating up Erskine, it's like, nah, hold up. That's not the game plan. That's not what we doing. So I just took the L, got hit. It's like, yeah. I remember it like it was yesterday, man. Just pretending.
Why you took jujitsu.
Pretending to cry. Nah, I just love jujitsu, just watching it, right?
You tired of getting your ass kicked.
Nah, man. That stopped probably in the 6th grade. So the 7th grade, so from, little kid up until the 6th grade, I was, running. From the 6th on, I was chasing. So it wasn't,
Did you ever reconcile?
Oh, with Erskine? Nah. He went on to rob somebody. We were in the 5th grade. So remember, he beat me up in the 4th grade. I took the L. Hey, it's no problem, right? I took the L. I didn't want to get jumped. I had to pretend to cry. I had to do what I had to do, right? Just those situations prep me for if a cop should come and, want to throw me down. Hey, man, I took my set of L's. So Erskine, later on, he went in the 5th grade, he robbed a kid for his beanie hat. He had like a 38. He had some type of handgun that he brought to school. And he robbed a kid, and I knew that like the girl was in my class, right? And so he took her younger brother, probably like in the 4th or 3rd grade, took his beanie hat, with a gun. So like yeah. So and then after that, man, I didn't hear about Erskine. So then I want to say probably during the teen years, I don't know what happened to him. Like I just, I didn't see him. I just didn't see him again. So, it was never.
Yeah. Or either he's dead or he's wearing a dress someplace. Because kids, when they go to prison, they train them right.
Yeah. Prison is rough, man. Like you remember my friend LeVar who killed himself. I talked about him before, and I'll talk about him, even in the future. He grew up in like a juvenile home. He went to a juvie center. Yeah. And man, it's rough. Like those places, man, is rough. It's rough, and you don't have somebody to stop you. Like, so if here you are 10 or 9 and you have somebody that's like 13 already has that sexual desire. Look, man, it's game time, so it's a rough place. And these are things that people don't even talk about. Like people wouldn't even know that this stuff is going on, but this is where most of your boys get sexually assaulted is when they go into these group homes. Not all of them, because I'm quite sure some of our listeners are, in their 30s or whatever. They're like, man, I went to a group home. Of course, they're not going to admit to it, but some of them didn't. Okay. But for the most part, man, it's rough. It's cold outside. Like, and those rough environments, man, sex and the body is fair game. So if you're 7 and you're in those group homes and you're up with somebody that's like, 12, 11, he coming at you. He might come at you. He might not, but at the same time, he might come at you, man. So like you said, I mean, it's rough, man. It's rough and just juvie. Yeah, they have fighting, man, but they also have rapes. So, and that's why, in the movie Training Day, he was like, man, you ever had your shit pushed in? Right?
Yeah.
And, I had a friend who didn't even know what that meant. Right? But like when they were talking about juvie, right? And yeah, they're actors, but that comes from a real place. Like, yo, man, hey, I see you ever had your shit pushed in? Like that's real. Like having your shit pushed in is common. Like if you've been to juvie, for this scenario, it was like, look, man, that's common. So it's definitely
I don't
in that
know,
environment.
I don't know if I mentioned it, but there were some guys that grew up with me. I went to elementary school together. Two of them got sent to jail, not the hard jail, but the jail where young criminals go, because in Ohio they send hardened criminals to one place and young felons to another place. So we all knew each other. Fortunately, my mom pulled me in the house when I turned 12, so I didn't get a chance to clown. But they were in jail together, and one of the guys raped the other one. We knew each other. I guess he felt familiar with him, that he could do what he wanted to do with him, and didn't expect there to be any consequences. But when he got out, the guy who got raped was waiting for him. Shot him and killed him. And then the guy who got killed, his brother killed the guy who did the raping, who was the raped. So it's crazy, man. I mean,
yeah, man, that cycle, man. That cycle it's a crazy cycle that, and after so many generations, they get to a point where they don't even know why they're fighting. And you see it a lot in these long traditional gangs, which it really, the peak of the Bloods and the Crips were during the 90s. And at that point, it started with the Black Panthers. And it was to protect the neighborhood. They started this stuff like, hey.
Bloods?
Yeah, with the Bloods and the Crips.
Okay. See, I thought it was that a lot of the guys, the Bloods were the guys who came from, who were ex-soldiers. And they call each other blood, like blood brother or brother. And that's how they were formed. And then it disintegrated to a gang type situation.
Yeah, well, and just like this, all of this stuff takes on several stories.
Yeah.
So, but one of the stories,
and I was not trying to minimize your story in any way whatsoever, sir. I don't want you to choke me out here on the air.
No, man, I'm not. I'm far from a bully, and that's why I embrace and I love the fact like that I was beat up and just punked and everything. Like I like that because I know that how it feels. So like I'm sure that somewhere in the world there has to be one person that's like, man, Bo was a bully, but I doubt it. I really doubt it, because I always remembered what it felt like, and I never wanted to make somebody feel like that. Never. So, like, that's one thing, so I'm not, I'm not going to choke anybody out, especially you, Fid. Like, no, man. I have a thing where,
respect for your elders.
Yeah, man. And, man, I remember, man, my father, I found some, he brought a woman a ring. So he was with my mom. He was living with us, right? And, I asked him for like a Super Nintendo or some type of game system, right? He was like.
Probably Genesis back in the day.
Yeah, it could have been a Genesis, but I'm not sure what it was.
Dreamcast or something like that.
Nah, by that time I was working, so it wasn't a Dreamcast. It was like, Super Nintendo Genesis era, right?
Okay.
So I asked him for that, and he was like, yeah, he was like, yeah, I'll get it for you, no problem, right? So the pay period comes around, and I was like, oh, are we gonna go and get it? We're gonna go and get the whatever. Let's just say it's a Genesis, because I did like the Genesis, right? So are we gonna go get the Genesis? He was like, we can't get it this week. We just had to get it next time. It was no problem. Okay. I wasn't mad. It was, hey, it's no problem, right? So then later on I find a receipt, and cause he had his stuff laying on the bed, and
you was being nosy.
No, I wasn't even, I don't even know what I was looking for, but somehow, some way I found the receipt.
Change out of his pocket.
Right? So the receipt, it was like expensive. It was an expensive ring.
$1,000 or more?
Right. It was probably like 5 or 6. I'm not sure.
5 or 6 what?
100,
oh.
yeah. 5 or 600.
Okay.
But to a kid like back then, man, like that was a lot.
That's like 5 Nintendos or Genesis. Or
yeah,
something.
like that was definitely the Genesis. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
I could have got the Genesis with that. And this was just a little bit later, right? So then, like, I was mad, man. I was heated, I was heated. And I remember we were, it was me and one of my homies, and we were outside, and he was like, get in the house. It was late. It was the summertime, but he was like, get in the house. And I was like, nah, I'm not going in the house. He was like, what? He was like, what? I was like, man, I'm not going in the house, man. 'Cause I'm mad. I'm like, look, man, you put this bitch before me, man.
That's
like,
what you told him?
Nah, but that's how I felt, like, look, man, like, come on, man. You said you was going to do this, and then you're going to say that you can't because something serious comes up, but it's some chick, like, yo, what's up? So I'm like, no. So my homie was like, yo, you want me to kill him? And I was like, yeah. So as my father is walking towards me, right? My homie, he has like a shank.
A shank.
Yeah, he has a shank, right? He already
been through the system already.
Yeah.
You can go out and buy a real knife, but he likes shanks.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm probably like 13, 12. I'm like 12, 13, right? So, my father, he's coming to get me. My friend like, yo, man, you want me to just kill him? I'm like, yeah. He comes up, and he's like, get in the house, and I'm like, I'm arguing with him, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm waiting for my friend to just stab him, right? Which he didn't stab him. Luckily, because that was stupid of me, just because I'm mad that, I felt like my dad just put this woman before me, but because of that, like, you can move beyond that. You can get past that and you can forgive that, but you can't forgive.
Once
you can't bring, once you're dead, you can't, I can't bring him back. And I would have been in jail as an accomplice who put the hit out, so, but I remember that feeling. And like, man, that was just bad. It was bad.
Well,
it was like, man, I don't want to do that to people that I respect, because I respect my father. I love my father, but yet, I let anger get the best of me. Influence the best of me. And I was like, man, you know what? I'm not going to do that. So with that being said, I will never choke Fid, because no.
Let me ask you, did you explain to your father why you felt defiant? He doesn't know to this day that.
Yeah, so he died not knowing. Like, we had a big fallout, and so he died with we never talked about it. We resolved it, and that was how, man, a lot of my relationships were back then. It was just,
so he was like a foster child, anger.
Yeah, it was weird, man. It was weird, but yeah, I had that, but I was definitely angry, and it was like, all right, it is what it is. Like, I never said anything to him about it, and
you didn't say anything to your mother about it, did you?
No, but he eventually left us and to be with this woman, and then I believed he married her, or he married some other woman. I know eventually he married somebody else, so. But yeah, like after that happened, then he left. He left her. Like, he left us. Like, after that, which
immediately after or down the road.
Yeah, like immediately. You figure that happened in the summer, and he was gone.
Well, that was his excuse to leave.
Yeah,
that was,
Yeah, he was already planning. Yeah,
he was already gone, because when he bought the ring, you don't buy a lady the ring unless you plan on digging in that thing.
Yeah, he was probably already in it, man. He was a ladies' man. He used to take me out with him. Like, I remember going to the movies, and we would go to the movies, and then he would pick up a chick, and they would be making out. Like, I would be like out, like right where I am to you, like how far I would be here playing. It would be at night. I'll be here by myself playing with whatever, and he'd be out over there making out with some woman. Yeah, man. He was definitely, and I never felt, I didn't even feel bad. Like, I didn't feel like, hey, man, don't do that to my mother. You know, like, I didn't even feel like that just because I was so young when he was doing it. It was like, this is just the way it is. This is normal.
Well, here's my thing. I could never cheat on a woman that I have kids with because I didn't want to hear my child say, Daddy, how can you cheat on us?
Yeah, but see, man, I was so young. Like, it wasn't even, to me, it wasn't even cheating. Like, when he was with other women, like, to me, it was just normal. You know?
Well.
Like, we would go to the movies. And, man, like, he must have been a real ladies' man, because it was always a different chick, man. It was.
Oh, it's easy, bro.
See, and I guess because of him, I don't have those stories. Like, I don't have the crazy spring break story. I don't have any of those. I remember there's one girl. This is one incident that happened to me. It was me and a couple other friends, right? And it was a girl. So it was me, two other guys who I'm sure listen to this. Like, one of them I know listened to the podcast, so he's going to be like, he's probably going to laugh. But it was me, two other friends, and a girl, right? And she was beautiful. It was probably, I would say 13, 14. Cause, once we were 14, we got evicted. So this is how I can kind of keep track of the timeline. Cause after a while, man, it all gets fuzzy.
Mm-hmm.
But, when I was 14, we got evicted and I had to go live with, my aunt or whatever. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was living with the homies and then eventually, moved with my aunt. So it was before this time. And, so it had to been like 12 or 13 or whatever. So, it was three guys, one girl who, you know, I looked at her and thought that she was beautiful sexually, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And, so we're in a abandoned building. It's not even abandoned, but it's about to be abandoned.
Empty apartment.
Yeah, it's like an empty apartment complex. You know, it's real huge and it's several apartments in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I believe that she was living in there, just living in one of the abandoned, apartments, man.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in there and we're playing around and we, at some point I was like, oh man, this is how you gotta eat the cooch, right? So she's sitting like she has a dress on and she's sitting on something like some type of desk or whatever, right? And I'm just playing. I didn't, you know, but I like put her legs up on my shoulders, right? It's like, man, y'all kids are just relentless. So, you know, I put her legs up on my shoulder. I'm just playing, you know, and then I just put it down. I'm not worried about it, right? I'm not trying to initiate anything at this point. I don't even believe I was even active, right?
Mm-hmm.
And,
you was in training.
Yeah, man. So, that's what happened when you don't have guidance. So, so, you know, we playing like that. And then eventually I have her on, she's like on top of me, like as if she's, riding me, right? She's
on your back or front?
Front, like on the,
okay.
Like just sitting on my lap front wise. So, you know, I could hold her butt. You know what I mean? We're face to face. And
she's like, what's wrong with you?
Nah. You know, she's just, we're all just playing around. And one of my friends, he puts his man inside of her. And I didn't know, right? So the other one, he was like, like he's, you know, afraid. I didn't know what was going on. And then, he takes it out and then he goes to insert again and then his joint touches my hand. So at that point, I know what's going on. And then I'm like, yo, chill. Like, you know, I get up, I kind of like push her to the side so that, you know, like, look, that's not going on here with us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she didn't
flinch.
Yeah, she didn't flinch, just a moan type of thing. You know what I mean? Like that. But me and my other friend, we was like, yo, like, nah, you feel me? Like, nah. So eventually, I would say maybe 2 months later, right? I have her again, but we're over another friend's house, one of her friends, that's a girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying, and my house is just a few doors down. And I'm like, why don't you come over? You know, like, yo, my mom's not here. My mom's not home. Nobody's home. My dad, I think he had left at that point, you know. So I'm like, nobody's home. She was like, I'm just not in the mood. I'm like, you're not in the mood? She was like, nah. She was like, you had your chance. I was like, what? I ain't have a chance. Like, I never had a chance. She's like, yeah, when we was in that, we was in the building.
Told you.
And, and the guy put his joint inside of me. Like, that was the chance. Like, I'm not going to go through that just on an off chance that you're into like group a rapey,
group sex,
group sex. Like, nah. So that's the only crazy story. That's a crazy story, but that's the only one I have. And, I probably, like I said, I liken it to my dad being such a ladies' man.
And you blew it.
Yeah, and I blew it. I didn't pick up on the cues. I just, because guys in my neighborhood already went to jail for raping a girl. So this wasn't. So when that situation happened, it was, and the guy's penis touched my hand. It was like, yo, no, man, nah, I'm not going to jail for rape, for gang rape. And but nah, that was a cue. That was, she was
receptive.
Yeah, so it's weird. I mean, but that's the craziest story.
So whatever happened to her, do you know?
Nah, man. She was hanging out with a drug dealer. Like, you figure around the time I was 14, she was hanging around one of the local drug dealers, and she was his girlfriend. Because, like I said, man, she was living in that abandoned apartment complex, and eventually it got shut down. Like, they just tore it down, so she just moved with the closest drug dealer that she could be with. It. And after that, I don't know what happened to her, but yeah, man, I like just thinking back, like I could see her face, and I mean, she was, a beautiful girl, so hopefully she got to a good situation where she was able to turn her life around, or,
Mm-hmm. That's what you call a pipe dream, brother.
Oh man, like, nah, she ain't turning it around.
Nah, she was at 12. She was too far gone, man. I mean,
yeah,
she took it, and for the first time, it generally caused them much pain.
But that wasn't her first time.
No. That's what I'm saying. So she was gone.
Yeah, but man, that's the thing, man. In the hood, the taboo, the things that we don't talk about is just the sexual abuse. She probably was abused. I mean, because that's the thing. Like I said, man, once you as a girl you're developed and you're like a woman, even if you're a young woman, like the wolves are out. The wolves are like.
Well, when I was growing up, I was about 12 or 13, and this one girl that was growing up with us, she got pregnant at 13. And by the time she was 24, she was a grandmother.
Oh, wow.
So do the math. By the time her daughter was 12, she was pregnant.
Wow.
So, as a parent, I learned from that. I wasn't mine, so. But as a parent, you become hypersensitive to the things that you went through. You make sure your child don't go through those things.
Right, man. You are right about that.
You get stupid my daughter was a golfer, and she's out on a golf course with me, and I'm carrying a ball so she can, because she was the star, so Daddy had to play the servant role, so I'm carrying her, and I'm a few feet ahead of her, and she's behind me. And this old guy said something to her, asked her how she doing.
What?
Yeah. And I'm like, do you know him? No, Daddy. So I go into kill mode.
Yeah, of course.
Okay? Like, how dare you talk to my daughter. You don't even know her. So his response was, oh, no, you're crazy. You're crazy. You're the one with the problem. I'm like, dude, you see this 5-iron I got in my hand? So we exchanged some words, and naturally I look like the bad guy because I'm defending my daughter, and which I really didn't care because so she's over there swinging, practicing. This guy didn't let go. He went over there and sat across from her and watched her. And I had to restrain myself from busting his brains out. So basically what I'm saying is you become hyper. The experiences I had as a child, and I'm sure the experiences you had as a child, it makes you hypersensitive to situations of potential abuse.
Right.
First of all, I don't speak to nobody's kid, nobody's young daughter. And when I do speak to them, in front of their parents, I tell them, look, yes, your parents know me, but you shouldn't be so friendly with every adult that knows your parents.
Yeah.
Because every adult is not well-meaning. I say that in front of their parents, and they happy I say that. Because I basically taught them a lesson that, you have to be vigilant with your children. Even the rap stars who spewed out their blasphemy, their disrespect for women, they don't want that around their kids. There was this one. What's that lady's name who was Madonna? She says she don't even let her kids watch TV. All they listen to is classical music. But she done corrupted everybody else's child.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to run around like Madonna, and she don't want her kids to even be like her. So,
yeah, man, that's the thing. Like that's a bunch of musicians, a bunch of rappers are like that. Where,
as a parent, you never have to apologize for coming to the defense of your child, because someone who has good intentions would recognize what you're doing. You're protecting your child. They wouldn't be offended by it. In the first place, as an adult, you don't walk up to somebody's child and just start holding a long conversation. Oh, y'all know each other?
I know. Wow. Like that doesn't make sense at all. Like that makes no sense. If you're a grown adult, why are you talking?
Holding a conversation with a 12-year-old,
Yeah.
Without their parents.
Yeah, like, nah, you just don't do that. No. You just don't, I wouldn't do it to, I'm weary, like if I see, one of my students, if I see him out in public, in the schools or whatever, of course I'm happy to see him. Yeah, I wave, but, I hope that they don't hug me just because, their parents don't know me. Yeah,
if their parents there, you introduce yourself to the parents and let them know that I'm their teacher.
Yeah, and that's what I try to do is let them know, like, oh, what school? I'll ask, hey, what school did you go? And they'll be like, yeah, he was my music teacher. Because the thing with the music gig, man, is you have every student. Like a music teacher has every student in that school.
Yeah.
And down here, you go to 3 schools. So, that's every student in 3 schools know you. And after a while, man, it just blurs. You don't know where you know them from. You like, do I know you from there? They're like, no, I'm from this. Like, yeah, and it's just weird. And then the parents, because, man, after you have 900 students, right? Mm-hmm. Man, after a while, they all start to look alike. Like it's weird. Like
snotty-nosed little brats.
Man, just the face, they look alike. Like, it's like, man, I bet you're related to this person. Like, you can just see it, just the similarities in the face and just facial structures, man. Like, it's weird, but yeah, once you are exposed to 900 students from different schools through different schools, man, it's weird how I would bet I would bet that some of these people are related. Like, oh man, that has to be your brother.
Yeah.
And one, like one kid that I have now, I had his brother at another school, and I was looking at, I was like, man, like he looks so familiar, right? And they're probably maybe 2 years apart, right? And they're probably like 50 miles apart, they're not together, So,
Did you ask?
Yeah, I asked him. I was like, yo, is such and such your brother? He was like, yeah. I was like,
okay.
Yeah, I knew it. Like,
so this one was in foster care someplace or something.
Like, who knows? You know how dads do it nowadays, man.
Oh, boy.
Dads don't play. It's not foster care. It's, look, man, dad going to get it in over here, then he going to go a couple miles down the road, get another one.
Oh, okay. Step bros and
yeah,
sisters. Okay.
Yeah. And see,
Wow.
there's a spot down in Rand where it's one guy, it's weird, it's like a Genghis Khan type of thing, where it's one guy who fathered a bunch of children, so like all of them have like ties, like Ty Quan or Ty Keys or Ty Ray or Ty this, is like all the ties, and they all have the same dads, but they all have different moms.
Wow.
And it's like it's a bunch of them, and it's a few drug dealers, you can't even call them kingpins, but that's what you would call them down here.
Well, in Rand, I wouldn't call them kingpins.
Yeah, that's my point. Like, you wouldn't call them kingpins, man. But
let's see. If you keep your speed at 20 miles an hour, you'll be through Rand in 10 seconds.
Yeah, man. It's weird that, it's a few drug lords in there, and not even drug lords, but just big time.
Well,
it's all relative.
Big fish in a small pond.
Yeah, or medium-sized fish, small fish in an even smaller pond. But yeah, man, and they all have like a bunch of kids, and they're like their suffixes and stuff or prefixes is like Ty.
Well, here
or Lay Quan, Lay Key, Lay this.
Well, I have to admit to you, I've only got one child, but I wish I had a few strays around.
Oh man, yeah, man. I mean, Yeah, well, I mean, who wouldn't?
Back from the past.
Yeah, especially if you're a good dad, you want several kids because you're a good dad. I mean, why wouldn't you want them? I want.
But that goes back to what I said earlier. How can you cheat on us, Daddy? That's not my brother. I went to a funeral of someone I know, and a fight broke out because several people was claiming this person as their father. And the family that he was married to didn't know the other people.
That's how it happens.
So they met him at the funeral.
Oh man.
Wow.
See, man, that you gotta come from a good place, if you, I would be happy, man. I would be happy if people come up to me like, I'm your brother or I'm your sister. I'll be like, oh man, what's up? Yeah. Like, yo, Dad, I mean, I would love that. But that's because I came from the very bottom. just the gutter. Well, the cavity. That's what I like to call it. I come from the cavity. So you that type of stuff, you're happy.
Well, to me, people from the lower echelons, quote unquote, of life, they're more realistic. They can handle failures more easily than someone who's had everything given to them. You had to work for everything you have. Whereas people who are on the top as opposed to the bottom, they can't handle some failures. Like when the stock market crashed back in the 20s, you got millionaires who jumped out of windows because they felt like all their life savings were gone. There's some people who, when they lose a job, they kill themselves or go kill everybody at work. Well, heck, most of us, we get fired. I was wondering when you was going to get around to it. Or I was looking for a job when I found this one. That gives you a little more something coming from a poor lifestyle as opposed to somebody who's had everything handed to them on a silver platter, and they just don't get it.
Man, I mean, it's like I said. I mean, I would be happy if anybody came up to me and was like, "Yo, you know, I'm your." I wouldn't even call him my step. Look, man, you're my brother. Like, yo, we got the same father. I don't care if we have different mothers. You're my brother. You're not my step brother. You're my brother.
Yep.
You know, if we got the same mother and different dads, you're my brother. Like, it don't matter how you slice the pie with me.
Yeah.
You know, like, look, it's no step. Like when there's a step, let's say. I'm marrying your mom. You're like 13, 14. You don't know me. And, you know, it's just like, yo, you really call me Bo to my face. You know, like, you know, like, yo, that's Bo. That's my stepdad, Bo. You know what I mean? But like,
well,
yo.
When you need something, though, it's Dad. Hey, Dad, can I borrow the car?
Yeah, you know, but like, yo, but but even in that case, like, yo, if I marry your mom and you're 18, if you want to just say like, yo, man, that's my dad. All right, I'm your dad. Like, yo, I don't have a problem with that.
I'm not trying to take anything from your biological father.
Yeah, I'm not taking anything from him. But
you know,
if that's what you want to do.
I'm with your mom, and you know, I want you to understand that your mom being treated right.
Yeah, man, language is important. It's like we don't even understand how important language is. So. And I'm not, look, man, if y'all don't have a good relationship and you call that your step, whatever, okay, you know. But like, if y'all do have a good relationship, then there shouldn't even be a step in there because that's a barrier. That's just a barrier between you. And it's a word, but language is so important. You know, we discussed
some people understand what the words mean and they use them intentionally.
Yeah, that's my point. Like, hey, I mean,
yeah.
But if,
they just
your regular dad is in your life and you love him
and with all
whatever
respect,
or mom or whatever.
You know, every child has a right to their biological father. You know, I would never interfere with anybody between their father and their mother.
I would definitely hate. I would hate to.
But in my divorce, I spent $17,000 in attorney fees and court costs fighting to have my daughter in my life. Okay, I don't know if I said this before on the air, but I did. And the plan was to get with old boy because he had a daughter, and they was gonna raise the daughters together because they were the same age. Like, okay, I'm gonna back out the scene.
He's like, nah, it's not gonna happen.
Well, you know, my position was, you know, if it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to turn out, we will be in court till she was 18, because I didn't do anything to deserve to have my child taken out of my life, and she didn't do anything to have me taken from her. So somebody makes a unilateral decision like that. I mean, you want to go. You know, miss one bus, you catch the next one. But blood is blood. You know, if that's your child. That's your child. Period.
Yeah, man. I definitely agree with you, and you know, I guess it's easy for a father that's in his child's life to just want, like I enjoy my kids. Like I enjoy seeing them. I enjoy being with them. I enjoy them growing up, and
they came from your loins. They came from you, man.
Yeah, so
that's you. That's your blood coursing through their veins.
Yeah,
and how some Jody gonna run up and you know, you can have her. Yeah, cool. If that's what you want, y'all gonna roll. But just don't get no ideas about my daughter, because typically guys think this a twofer.
Yeah, man. I mean, I definitely agree because just like that type of sexual tension is there. So
here. I'm not going to say no names because I don't know if they're listening. But there was this situation where this female I knew, she was living with her first cousin and their parents. So the husband to her cousin had walked off and left her, and he was living with a lady. And the lady had a 12 or 13-year-old daughter. Now, The lady was pregnant, and the 13-year-old daughter was pregnant. And his natural daughter, they found out that someone had been molesting her, and she was about 6 years old.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, it gets crazy. So, guys think that, just because a lady has a daughter who may have begun developing, that he's entitled. Don't get it twisted. I think if more fathers would step up and break some backs, a lot of the stuff would stop.
Man, but see, that's just the sick nature of repressing sexuality.
But
it takes that dark turn.
But so many times, mothers, when they're angry at the father, they try to poison the kids against the father. Not all mothers do that, but enough of them do to cause the children to dislike the father until they get old enough to understand what actually happened. And, if there's a falling out, okay, say a guy did cheat on his wife, and there was a falling out between the mother and the father, that doesn't make that man less than their father. He's no longer their mother's mate, but he is still their father. You can't wash that away. You can't talk that away. And when you need that male figure in your life, because most young ladies choose men based on their relationship with their fathers. They do. And many of the young ladies are out looking for love when their fathers isn't there. So you guys, when you ask yourself, what happened and how did I go wrong with my daughter or my son, you don't have to deal with their mother, but deal with your children. Because they need you. Mom can find another Jody any day. But your kids need you, because if they know you're their father, they need you.
Yeah, man, they definitely need you. They need you to protect them, man. I remember there was a kid who lived in the neighborhood who looked just like me. Like he looked like we were like twins.
Was he younger than you or older?
He was the same age. He was the same age.
Ooh.
And his name was Ben.
I take care of my kids.
And I remember one day I was walking home from school. And like I said, he looked just like me. If me and him were walking, at two different times, you would think it was me. Now, as you got closer, we didn't look too much alike, but we still looked alike. And it was to the point to where I could see it. Like, I remember one time I was looking in a reflection in the car that was passing. I was like, man, I do look like Ben a little bit. And I remember, man, I was walking home from school. It was high school. And I was probably about a mile before I got to my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear gunshots all the time. It's no big deal. You just kind of be aware. You can hear, like, okay, how far it is. You can tell the distance by, by the sound. So, shots go off is nothing. As I get to the neighborhood, I see that it happened in our neighborhood. Our neighborhood is a nice size, so it could still be somebody you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So it still is not sounding off any alarms, right? And as I get closer and closer, then I'm realizing, like, okay, it's this is somebody that I could possibly know. And one of my friends, he was like, yo, man, Ben, he just got shot. I think he got killed. I think they could tell that he was dead, because one of the homies was like, yo, Ben is dead. Ben is dead. And I'm like, what? Like, yeah, man, he got shot, right? And it was like I said, man, we looked alike. Like, if I would have been there in the neighborhood, they were looking for him. They were looking for Ben, specifically. It wasn't that we just...
It wasn't a random shooting.
Yeah, it wasn't random. It wasn't like, look, we want to shoot up the neighborhood. No, we want Ben, right?
Okay.
And like I said, man, it was a drive-by type of shooting. They shot him, killed him, And it's like, yo, man, that could have been me. You know, like if I would have been in the neighborhood, they would have easily mistaken, like, oh, there go that little nigga there, you know? And then boom, 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 right?
I thought you got him. Well, let's get this one too to make sure we got
him. I know he had a twin. So come to find out, man, his girlfriend or whatever girl he's messing with, she said that he had raped her. So that's why they were out looking for him, right? And they killed him because, you know, this girl said that he had raped her. Come to find out that he didn't rape her, but she was raped by like an uncle. You know, she was being like sexually assaulted by her uncle.
So she blamed him?
Yeah, so she blamed him, I guess, to detract from the uncle. I don't know why she did it, you know, but you know, he was killed. They killed Ben. Like, so I could have died. I didn't even know, you know, I've never even seen this girl.
You didn't even get the pleasures of it.
You know, but like, yo, like we gotta, as fathers, man, we gotta be there for our kids and try to protect our kids as much as you can. Yeah, if something like that happens, hey, you know, it's not your fault as a dad if you are in your kids' lives because, you know, things like this happens. We don't know why, but it happens. If you are in your kid's life and it happens,
well,
don't beat yourself up.
You try to teach your kids how to be vigilant and not put themselves in situations that can cause them harm. Like I think I said last week, I tell my daughter, she's of age now, she's over 21, and if you and your friends go out, keep a rubber band on your wrist, and if you order a drink, put a napkin over that drink, and stick a straw through that napkin and drink your drink out of there. And once you walk away from that drink, and if it's look like it's been tampered with, pour it out, buy you some more, buy another drink. Is what, $5 or $6? Okay.
Yeah. You definitely not trying to be a victim.
No.
You know, like you said, I mean, you know, for the most part, you can't, like, you don't know when it's going to happen. You can't, or you didn't, it wasn't anything that you did that really caused it, but at the same time, just the numbers game, as you become closer and closer to the fire, is more of a chance, just off of numbers, you have a more stronger chance of getting burned, you know.
Well, my daughter was telling me that 4th of July, she was supposed to go on a boat ride with a friend of hers, with a bunch of college guys.
Oh, no.
I'm like, what? She's like, well, Dad, it'll be okay. I'm going to be with a friend. Okay. Can you swim? Because they get you out on a boat. They give you a choice. You swim or you give it up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so when is this supposed to take place? And when you do go, if you do go, you need to take pictures of the ship and take pictures of everybody else. So, you know, and let it go up into the clouds. So you got documentation of what's happening.
Yeah.
And so this shows you how the friend invited her. The friend didn't even know no details about it. So they got dressed to go. They had left at 12. And it was like 2 o'clock when they was getting ready to go. I'm like, you see how shady that was? And she's like, yeah, Dad. Yeah, that was shady. And because I really didn't want her to go. You know, you want your children to experience life. But some experiences you don't want them to have yet. You know? Right. So she was glad that it was over, that they had missed the boat, because now she didn't have to deal with telling them, I can't go because my dad won't let me go.
Yeah, man. And that's the thing, ladies, because for our female listeners, look, some of y'all getting ready to go to college, right? School's about to start up in just a couple weeks, 3 weeks. Look, ladies.
You ain't there to help some boy get his rocks off.
Yeah, it's like National Geographics out there, okay? Up in them dorms. Like, it's rough. All right?
Raw.
Yes. It is raw. Like, these guys, they've been just, you know, cuddled their whole life.
By their mom.
Yeah, by their mom. And their dad been given just privilege after privilege. These guys feel privileged. They feel like, look,
it's
you
their
should
rite of passage.
Yeah, like, yo, you should be honored. Yeah, you should be honored to give me the coochie.
How many pair of panties can they get?
Yeah, like this is the mentality.
And see, this ain't new. Back in the day, they had stuff they call panty raids, bro. them little perverts had panty raids. You'd go steal some ladies. They didn't want the fresh laundry ones. They want the ones that they wore.
Down, down, down.
But
Oh,
you know,
man.
don't let these little punks get their rocks off of you.
Yeah,
I mean,
don't.
You know, because they gonna tell.
Yeah, and then women are becoming more liberated.
Especially my frat bros, because they go tell it all. They go tell it all.
Yeah.
Now you promise you ain't gonna tell you? Oh no, baby, I ain't gonna tell.
Oh, man.
Hey man, guess who I got last night? Guess what we did?
Yeah.
Guess what I made her do?
Yeah. See, I always have been attracted to the deltas. So, that would be like I would have just became a Q just so I could get closer to deltas. I would have became a Q for that alone.
When I was a lamp, that's what we become. First we have meals, men interested in Omega back in the day, and then they have lamps, a lampado. That's when you're online, and that's during your pledge period. So I'm this lamp, and this one guy, he was supposed to pledge Q with me, but he couldn't wait, so he pledged Alpha. So one day we were in the university center. It's a big old cage. We call it the cage because it was like a 6-story building with nothing but glass in the Concord area. They had live plants in there, birds and everything flying around. So I was a math tutor. I could pick up women by helping them with their math and stuff. So I'm talking to this one chick because she found out I can help her with her math, her fractions and stuff. So I'm getting her number and everything. And this guy, he said, Fid, do you know her? I said, nah, man. I mean, I just met her. He said, man, I wish I had a pledge Q.
Man, I've never seen a Delta that I didn't like. So yeah, man, I wish I would have pledged Q just for that.
It was just one ugly Delta.
I'm glad I've never seen
she
that.
Was ugly. I mean, she was oogly. She was ugly. So she didn't like me because she was messing around with this Sigma who turned out to be a fag.
Go.
And I bust them out because I used to be the photographer at my school, at this college I went to. So that this faggot left some nude pictures of himself. I don't mean to use that word. That's how mad I was at the situation. This individual left some nudes of himself in our file cabinet that only me and him had access to.
Oh, so he was trying to just let you know, yo. Yes,
that's what he was doing. Okay? So I busted him out. I showed him to everybody. I said, look what this dude left in this thing. I'm like, and everybody was like, well, why would he have it here? If you're going to do that, you take that crap home. You don't leave it at school.
Yeah.
So we had some words. Me and him had a falling out. He pledged Sigma, I pledged Q. So I think he had crossed before I did. So he was sticking it to this ugly Delta. I mean, she was ugly. Y'all forgive me, Deltas. I love my Deltas, but this one was. So I'm online, and my dean of pledge. I'm with my dean of pledge, and so she walked up to him and she said, "I should slap the shit out of him." And my dean of pledge looked at me and said, "What's she talking about, man?" And I said, "I'll tell you later." He said, "Man, tell that bitch to kiss your behind." I said, "Bitch, kiss my behind."
Oh,
and she looked at my dean, because we're brother-sister organization. So, unofficially. So she looked at him, and she kept talking. He said, "Man, choke that bitch out." So I went to grab her, and he said, "Stop!" And I spun off of her. And I usually don't tell a story like this, but that one stuck with me because she wanted to harm me because some freak was trying to proposition me.
Yeah, man, that's funny. Man, like when I think of, and I'm sure, there's some, but for the most part, man, like I like all the deltas that I've seen, man, like I like all of them. And what's the Alpha's sisters? AKAs, man. There was one. It's just like maybe, and I like women, so of course there was more, but only one stands out. Like it's only one AKA from my, back when I was in college that really just stands out to me, and but other than that, man, all the girls are deltas, man. And how did that, can you talk about that? Like how did, like, AKAs and alphas, how did they even decide, like, hey, I'm going to be the sister organization?
Well,
how did that happen? I don't want to know about your fraternity. I don't want to
there's
release
a story.
the secrets or whatever.
There's a story. Okay. The first quote unquote, actually it was the second. Alpha Phi Alpha, which is the male fraternity, was formed. And a sister organization called AK Alpha Kappa Alpha was formed. So at one point, Omega was founded in 1911. So they were on a yard at Howard, and there were no alphas there, no male Alpha Phi Alphas weren't there. So the bros was running the yard. So they ran up on the AKAs that were left. There was like 13 of them. Turned them out. And they were the only active AKAs in the sorority. So I hope these deltas and AKAs don't put no hit on me. but the AKAs, they got tired of the foolorama. I don't know what it was, but they decided they wanted to form a new sorority, and they formed deltas. So deltas originally, their founders were originally AKAs.
Oh, so they crossed as AKAs,
and then they formed
their own. Look,
they formed the deltas.
We're done with the alphas. What are the guys called?
Alphas?
They're just alphas.
And the females are called AKAs. They go all the way with them.
Oh, I go all
So
the way.
there was this one, I forget her name. I don't want to say her name incorrectly. She put out like a green or pink alert or something, and they quickly went back on the yard and formed a new line, and that's what saved the AKAs from going into extinction.
Oh, on Howard's campus.
Those were the only.
Oh, those were the only ones.
The only actives in the. Because see, when they first began, they were local, on a particular college campus, and when we were formed, they tried to prevent us from becoming on more than just that campus. So that's why we're incorporated, because that means that we are international. So we started from one fraternity, now we're on all over the world. But I hope I don't have no hits out on me. Bros, if I'm saying too much, let me know. But
he said, "Look, yeah, man, that's interesting." And all my young, new college goers, you just graduating high school, join a fraternity, join a sorority. I don't know.
Well,
for women, if it can protect you, but at least you can. I think, just from an outsider's perspective, I feel like they stick together.
Well, let me offer to you, and I'm gonna say something to you. My job as a fraternity member is to make sure that we get people who are serious about the fraternity, who are going to love the fraternity. We can't have poot butters in there. We can't have sliders in there. We can't have lukewarm enthusiasm. In Omega, that's why we keep saying it's so hard to make Omega, because, you know, once you get in there, the world is yours. You know, even if you don't, if you never be financial again, you still a bro. You still got your pearls. Okay? And they can never be taken from you. Even if your name is stricken from the record, you still a bruh, because you know our secrets, so you still a bruh. So, you know, if you're serious about school, you know, you need to have a good cumulative average before you pledge a fraternity or sorority, because it is not an easy task. I mean, I know Omega was tough. If you can survive Omega, you can do anything. You can, you know, one of our Latter-day Brothers. He had pledged Omega, and then he joined the Army. He's like, boot camp wasn't nothing compared to pledging Omega. So, if you're gonna pledge, you know, don't use it as an excuse to fill out of school. Because if you aren't about your books, you know, we got 4 principles, and they're posted: manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift. I don't even consider the first one, because you're supposed to be a man to join a man's fraternity. So scholarship to me is the most important one. And that's why you go to school, for scholarship, to get your grades, to get a good education. Yeah, it's great to be in my fraternity, but it's also good to be able to get a decent job once you finish college. And that's what it's about. That's why your parents sent you there. You know, parents really get disappointed when you come home all branded up, hit up, and everything like that. And oh, by the way, I'm on academic probation. So choose wisely, you know. I'd love to have you guys as my brothers, because I'm going to tell you, I'll turn your ass back. But it's about scholarship.
All right, man, you're a math guy. Before we get out of here, man, you're a math guy. How many times would I have to fight Mike Tyson before I would get a victory? Going by the numbers.
That's here. Okay, I have an equation for that. If you take the equation 6 divided by 3 times x, and you set x equal to 0, you have 3 times 0 is 0, so 6 divided by 0 is infancy. I can't get it out. What's wrong with me?
It's getting late.
But you got about a snowball's chance in hell to beat Mike Tyson, man. I'm going to tell you, he'll bite your ears off. He'll eat your children.
Oh, man.
And Iron Mike ain't nothing to joke. See, people think he's a has-been. Okay, he can't be the top-ranked fighter. The top-ranked. But he'll fuck you up. You got it. For those who can't see what I'm doing, I'm making a 0.
So you feel like I have 0 chance?
You got that. You got a goose egg chance of beating Mike Tyson. Iron Mike.
Iron Mike.
He didn't see. You know what they would do before his fights? They kept him on Prozac or something like that, or while he was training. Right before the fights, they would take him off. Okay.
You said right before the fights.
Before the fight, they take him off his
meds. You're a product of the 80s
the
80s marketing.
I'm a realist.
And just those trash, man. Come on. Do you think, you really believe, man, that out of 100 times, if I fought Mike and alright.
You might get one blow in.
Alright.
In that 100 times.
We're talking about in an MMA fight.
We're talking about a mixed martial arts. You can be a boxer. You can be a jiu-jitsu artist. You can be anything you want to be.
Man, look, every blue belt in my gym, I feel like can beat Mike Tyson in his prime. The prime Mike Tyson,
Bobby.
the prime one, the prime
Wow.
in an MMA fight. I don't feel like he could beat not one blue belt in my gym. Not one.
Bo, when did you start taking drugs, man?
Look, man, I'm telling you, boxers, and this has happened. This is even those kung fu masters that you guys listen. Those kung fu masters that you guys listened to and believed in when they all stepped into the cage.
We ain't talking about. This was the heavyweight champion of the world. Those kung fu artists, they fought among each other. He beat the best of the weakest. Iron Mike beat the best of the best.
They were not. I gotta question those guys. Anytime a guy's crying in the ring, he can't be the best.
He getting his shit knocked out of him. Go to YouTube. You know, he had some fights that lasted 57 seconds, man. Go to YouTube and look up Mike Tyson's fights.
Man,
and then think about it.
Look at boxers. I'm telling you, man, boxers they do not win in the MMA. They don't. A boxer, there's not one champion.
Okay.
And we're talking about.
Okay, here. The only restriction that I would put on a match between a boxer and an MMA fighter would be that you can't kick. Because the boxer can't kick. You both can throw punches. That would be the only restriction.
There's no kicking.
No kicking. And you can do takedowns, anything you want, but you can't kick.
Look, this is how it would go.
He slide up under anything you throw at him, or
he's gonna, his he's gonna watch. He's gonna be able to counter, work with any type of punching that I can do. I'm going to get the takedown. I'm going to, even if it's a boxer. A basic single leg takedown to side control to either the choke or the Americana. Basic. This is just basic.
Okay. While you're taking him down, how are you controlling his hands?
When he's going down, he's just like anyone else who goes down. He's worried about being taken down. The first thing is going to be is he's going to want to get back up, right? When he gets. Because he's getting taken down. He's getting taken down. We're talking about Tyson in his prime. I'm talking about 18-year-old or 22-year-old Tyson. He's going down to the ground, right? At that moment, he's thinking, not let me hit him, right? He's thinking, let me get up, right? Now he has a couple choices. And he's big, right? Tyson at 22, whatever. Now
Mike
MMA
Tyson's about 5. He's about your height.
Yeah, he's like 5'10", but he's big. I mean, he's like
he got a huge head. He got a
huge head, right? We talking about in his 20s,
thick and skull.
Yeah. Oh, I love Tyson. I love him. So he has a few options. He can just try to stand up just straight from his legs, or he can put his hands down and try to stand up. Now I'm taking him down with my shoulders inside of his hips. I'm grabbing for the single leg, and I'm just, taking him down, getting a single leg. I could do like an ankle pick, which, he wouldn't have anything for that, but I give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm doing a single leg, right? Yeah. Tyson goes down. Now he's on his back, so he's going to try to sit up. Maybe he's going to try to hit me or whatever, right? Cause like a sit up. What are you doing? Watching a fight?
Mike Tyson with 2 belts on his neck, 3 belts on his neck, getting on the ring. Got 2 around his neck and 1 on his waist. I'm gonna have to let you see this here. Let me come over there so you can see this.
That's funny.
Because this is what you're gonna have to take.
All right, yeah. Fix your the cord is between the bag. Yeah, man. I'm telling you, man. I could. Yeah, once he goes down, man. All right, let's look. See, look at that, man. Look at this, man. All right, see, right there. See, because like this guy, they're going for the clinch. They're getting the clinch, right? But the only difference here in these clinch techniques Cause they're all grabbing him. Like they all lock up with him. Now when we lock up, cause I'm gonna be able to grab him. Right? That was not one of his things to where no one could grab him. So when I grab him, I'm going for the takedown. I'm gonna get the takedown. And then at that point, man, it's just gonna be a wrap. I'm gonna get side control. Like I said, he's gonna if I use my weight, he's gonna use both of his hands and try to push me off of him, which I'll go for the arm bar.
You hit you in your kidney, in your liver.
Nah,
and
man.
It's over, man.
Nah. I could even play possum like Verdum did Fedor and give him the illusion that he even stunned me. So like at that moment, once I go down, he feels like, okay, let me go in for the kill and lock up the triangle with the combo arm bar, and it's lights out, man. Tyson. But that's not fair, right?
Did you see that, man?
Yeah. Nah, man, I love Tyson just like everybody else, you know. But that's not fair. MMA versus...
Who said life was fair?
Nah, meaning for Tyson. Tyson was like this Tyson could not beat one blue belt. Well, yeah, he could beat some blue belt. So, I'm quite sure there's some shitty blue belt, right? We all know.
You on crack, bro?
Look, man, I'm telling you. This.
Look, don't
this
threaten
Tyson,
me, man. What's wrong?
But let's go to boxing. Let's just take it out of my world, which, like I said, man, any blue belt could beat Tyson. I would say any 4-stripe white belt could beat Tyson. The Tyson in his prime. And we talking about an MMA fight. I feel like any 4-stripe white belt could beat Tyson. And but if we go into boxing, just by the numbers, like how many matches would it take for me to beat Tyson? How many boxing? If I had to box him and we had to box each other,
you had to.
But it was infinite numbers. You know, however many it took. You know, just even if guys do algorithms to find, you know, the chances of one thing happening.
10 to the 10th power.
Like I wonder, you know, how many fight, because this is the thing with high level fighting.
Well, do this. Why don't you right now on the air put out a challenge to Mike Tyson? Tell Mike Tyson, I'll eat your kids. And I challenge you to how many fights it take me to beat you.
He said challenge Tyson right now.
Right now, challenge him.
On the air.
On
Tyson.
the air.
Tyson.
Call him out, bro. Call him out.
Tyson, if you listening, okay? No, man. I hurt too many of my heroes, man. I don't want to hurt Tyson. I don't want to hurt him. Someone do the algorithm, create it, and tell me how many times would I have not nowhere near the finesse and the training of Tyson. I wonder how many fights how many times would we have to fight before I get the win?
Well, first you got to challenge to the first one.
Yeah, I don't want to hurt my heroes, man. I hurt too many heroes.
Remember that Tootsie Pop commercial? How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. So you gotta put your work in and go and do that.
Nah, man, I'm not trying to hurt Tyson, man. I don't want to hurt Tyson. That's even Bruce Lee. Even Bruce Lee, man. How many do you think Bruce Lee is so beloved, and I love Bruce Lee just like everybody else, but we are a product of marketing. We're a product of that, and we're confusing it. You know, like if we could pick the greatest fighters in the world to fight whoever, most people would pick, you know, people like movie stars who haven't been tested versus actual live fighters.
Well, bro, I gotta tell you, call them out. That's all I can tell you. Call them out, put some money out, put something up on the table, and see what happens. Because I'm going to tell you who I'm going to bet on.
Oh, yeah, I bet you would. But, you know, with the odds in my favor.
And you like a little brother to me, but I'm realist.
No, you're brainwashed by the marketing.
See, now you're insulting me.
Hey, man, I'm a realist, okay? I'm a realist, too. You're brainwashed.
Oh, boy.
Like, when you take any fighters, if you ask Tyson, and we're not talking about marketing Tyson, we're not talking about any cameras around. Tyson knows that every man that he beat on any given day, they can beat him. That's what a true fighter knows. Like, that's what you learn. Like, any time someone wins, yeah, you won that day, you won that night, and it doesn't matter how many, like, if you won whatever, however many you won, but there is that, but you always are, like, Tyson feels pain just like I do.
Well, let me ask you, how many times do you feel he'll hit you?
In a real fight, I would go for the takedown. Like, I wouldn't even.
That's not the question.
So yeah.
How many times would he hit you?
With a good shot, none. He wouldn't get a good shot on me.
Man, whatever you got, I think if you put it on the market, you can get paid.
Nah, man, but that's, like I said, man, any 4-stripe white belt.
I'm sure they could beat me.
Nah, it's not you. Like, they can beat me. Like, I'm not saying that I would win out of the average. I would have a high percentage. No, I wouldn't. I don't believe that I would. And if me and Tyson were to train to fight, I think, that it would be a tough fight for me with, just Tyson just having access to the best trainers in the world that's gonna, help him and to get him ready. Like, like, I know that it would be a tough feat, but at the same time, and over the percentages, like, if we looked at percentage, I don't even think that I would have a high percentage. Like, out of 100 fights, like, I wonder, out of 100 fights, would I get one? Like, how many? Would it be one? Like, will we have to fight 100 times before I get one? Or will we have to fight 300 times before I get one? Or 4? Like, how many? I doubt it would be 100 before I get one. And we're just talking about, just looking at the numbers, but in real time feeling pain and everything, and we have to keep coming back. I feel like whoever's on the bottom has to eventually win just because you're on the bottom. Whereas if you're on the top, like, you can't maintain that same level. Like, whoever, I can't say Buster Douglas. Like, if him and Buster Douglas kept fighting, like, I feel like let's say they fought again, after he lost, I would say that Tyson would win, But the fact is that Buster Douglas still beat him. Like, even out of 10 fights, Buster Douglas still beat him. So that's the only thing that I'm saying. I don't think that I would have a high percentage. Like, I beat Tyson 80% of the time. No, but I would win. And it wouldn't, I don't believe it would be 100 fights. And we're not talking about boxing now. Once we get to boxing, yeah, I would think that it would have to be in those high numbers because, you have someone that has no formal training versus someone who has training. And, I could be gifted with the hands. I could be gifted. You never know. So
you got to put some quarters in your gloves or something like that.
I could be gifted, man. I remember I knocked somebody out once. And
how'd you do that, man?
Well,
you stole him.
Well, man, he was in the market, and my friends was like, hit him, and I just kind of pulled back and bang, popped him, and I just got out of there because we was in the market. I didn't want to get caught,
Well, maybe he did like you.
Yeah.
And laid down. Like you pretend like you was crying.
I hope so.
Because he didn't want to get hit no more.
Yeah. I hope so, man. I hope that I didn't drop him.
Let me tell you this: if Mike Tyson gets you in the ring, he gonna eat your ear off, and he gonna eat your kids.
Yeah, boxing, it's definitely going to take. And I'm talking about prime.
No, I'm just saying
MMA,
in the ring. No, in the ring. One restriction I said, and that was that.
No kicking.
Yeah. Nah, man. Because, see, you can't defend against a power kick. I don't care who you are. Because once it come across that glove.
Yeah. And you talking about him with gloves and me without gloves?
Well, you MMA, and he's a boxer.
No, man, that would be a slaughter. that would be a slaughter. Like Tyson would have no chance.
You ever play that Sega game with a boxer takes on the martial artist?
You ever see the real fight when a boxer took he fought with one glove. Art Jameson fought with one glove, hurt him. And you talk about putting a boxer in two gloves fighting an MMA guy? Like, no, man. That I wouldn't even want to watch. Like, nah.
How would the gloves hinder him?
Because once I go for the choke, he can't grab me. Like, he can't grab. Only thing he can do is a basic pull down where he's using 2 against 1. If he even knows that. That's not common. Like, when I go for the choke, like if I'm going for a rear naked and I'm going for a choke, even if I go for anything, guillotine, whatever, man, Darce choke, like
What's the guillotine, man?
All right, so that's more of like a front. It's like a front choke. So if you're and it's right on your Adam's apple, it's a painful choke. I mean, it's painful. Where it's like if I go from the back of your neck, it's more on your arteries. Mm-hmm. So you just your brain doesn't get any oxygen, but the guillotine, man, that's where they just use the wrist and they're pushing it up against your Adam's apple.
What if you ain't got an Adam's apple?
Oh, but that neck is still there. Like a woman will still feel pain from it, and it's a little bit of your artery, but it's more of your lungs just shutting it down. That path to your lungs, I mean, it's a painful choke, man. It really is. And
have they demonstrated that on you?
Oh yeah, man.
So
you feel
so
those.
you were the dummy for a while?
Yeah. Well, you practice it both ways. So you would put me in it, and so I could feel it, and I tap, and then I put you in it. So we do a lot of that in jiu-jitsu. So I know how all of it feels. Even in North Carolina, training with a couple guys down there, I got put in Americana and like had my shoulder like because the whole idea of that is it rips your shoulder, right? So usually I tap before that happens, but this one guy, man, he really like cranked it back, and you could just hear it like starting to.
Did you punch him?
Yeah, we got a little serious, But he taught me something. He taught me a valuable lesson.
Don't let nobody put you in a hole.
Like, because he didn't even have it, but because I was tired, I just went ahead and let him secure it, and then I tapped, right? But no, man, don't ever let somebody put you in a move just because you're tired, just because it's, man, let me get out of here. Let me restart it. No, because in a real fight, there is no restarting. The restarting is when you yourself is victorious, because if you're not victorious, then it's over. You're done. And that's what that's what he taught me. And I thanked him afterwards. After I calmed down, I gave him a hug, was like, thank you, brother. Thank you for that lesson, because that was a lesson I needed to learn, because once I was rolling with Butch, and we're going to get him on here. I already talked to you about it. But when I was rolling with Butch one time, and he had me in, Butch is a black belt. So, he can tap me at any point. But I don't give up. Like, I don't say like, okay, he has it. No, I keep it going. But at the same time, respect the submission, because, if he when he goes for his arm bars, man, like those things are tough, like, and it's tight. So you need to be already expecting, like, all right, know when he got you, and be ready to tap, because he'll break your arm. He was saying one time, man, I think he was rolling with Marcelo Minotauro, which is like, these guys are from Brazil, and he rolled with the Gracies, with hoists and everything, man. But he was rolling with Marcelo, and I think Marcelo got him in like some type of arm bar or something, and like ripped his shoulder, and he was like, oh man, like, oh, my shoulder. And Marcelo was like we don't stop until the time is over. You know, like,
dude, we practicing. What the hell wrong with you?
You know, and you gotta be able to holler. He just, guys like that, they won't just do that to you if you're a white or a blue belt. But once you get to those upper levels, man, and he's, like I said, he's an older dude, like he's not old, but he's been a black belt for a long time. He's, who knows how many stripes he has, but yeah, he was like, look, man, yeah, your shoulder, yeah, I ripped your shoulder, I broke your arm, but we don't stop until the time is up. So, put a little pad on your shoulder vagina and get back in here. So yeah, man, it's fun. It's definitely fun. I can't wait to get back down there, which it'll be next week. So if you're in Charleston on Mondays, Wednesdays, for Fridays or Saturday, I'm gonna try to start rolling more, man, just because there's a couple guys down there that's getting good, and I'm like, yo,
you need to reestablish yourself.
Yeah, and
what color belt you got?
A blue. I'm a blue belt. So that's just the second level. Then you got purple, brown, and black. So I have 3 more levels to go. Well, purple, brown, and then boom, black. But it's, most of the people spend a lot of time at the blue belt level.
Well, let me ask you: Has a jiu-jitsu artist ever been knocked out by a boxer?
I'm sure. In life, yes. Now in the cage, yeah. I mean, because you have people who study in all things now, like mixed martial arts, but just a straight one-dimensional fighter, no.
You don't think Mike Tyson couldn't knock you out with one punch?
Yeah, he could, but he wouldn't get that punch because I'm aware of distance. Like, in order for him, like, now Mike Tyson has a mean side, like a kidney, those side punches, right?
Yeah.
Now, all of his fighters, the clinch is, we're going into the clinch. We're going to get the clinch, right? Now, you're talking about an elbow, right? I can get him with elbows, which are very effective. And I got the takedown, which I'm going to get against a one-dimensional Tyson. Now, a trained Tyson who has been training in jiu-jitsu and has been training in takedown defense and, like that type of Tyson, that's going to be even harder. But even then, I still say, like, yeah, I could do it, But like I said, man, the clinch is inevitable. We see it, and this is how modern fighters do it. They watch tapes, they watch footage, and they get ready for you, man.
If you fight him, can I have your equipment?
Oh yeah, man, you can. I'm not gonna fight Tyson. I do not want to hurt any more heroes. Okay, I put the hit out on my dad. I'm sorry. I'm not putting the hit out on Tyson. I love Tyson just like everybody else. I'm not fighting Tyson. But
you think you can beat him?
Yeah.
Wow.
If Tyson, like if I was walking wherever and Tyson disrespected my wife or my family or my kids, I don't have to pull out. I don't need a gun. I feel like I could take him. I feel like my jiu-jitsu is strong enough that I could make him either pass out or say, I'm sorry. And you figure 10 years ago, no, I would have been like all the comedians who say, well, if Tyson come up and he says, hey, I want to, send your wife over here to suck my dick. And they'd be like, okay. Yeah. 10 years ago, I would have been like that. But today, no. If Tyson was to do that to me, if he was to disrespect my family, I don't need a weapon. I could take him with my hands and I can choke him. I would get the takedown. That's just how I feel. And I feel like a Tyson in his prime. I feel like a fight. I don't care what fighter you are. If it was at that moment now in a regular ring situation and we're talking about just boxing, nah. No, today, no. Boxing, nah.
Wow.
Nah, I don't feel like it, nah. And I don't care if Tyson was a black belt.
Well, do this.
Like, even if Tyson was a black belt, like, I feel like I still could beat him in a real fight.
Can you, what's the name of the people you train with?
Butch Howes.
You think you can beat Butch?
In a real fight?
Yeah.
Today? Nah.
Oh.
Nah. Just because, man. He has jiu-jitsu. He was a black belt in like Taekwondo. Like he has so many aspects of his fighting. Like today, nah, man. I would, like, if we had to fight, you right, and we're talking about 10 times, like in an MMA fight, I would think 20. I think it would be 20 times before I would get one win. I think our percentage, just like in Tyson, in the MMA fight, I think Tyson would still have a higher percentage overall, because he's going to be adapting to me. He's going to adapt to me. And this is just saying that if his ground game is horrible, his ground game might be strong. Like Ed Bundy from Love, Married with Children, like he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
What?
Yeah, so I'm not underestimating. I'm not underestimating nobody.
What?
So Tyson, his ground game could be legit, because everybody loved Tyson. So they're going to teach him and show him the ropes for free. He's probably having top level fighters like, look, man, here you go.
You challenged Tyson to a jiu-jitsu match. Jiu-jitsu. I'm sorry. Please don't hit me for mispronouncing that.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I would win.
Okay, just like you said, he got a bunch of friends who are in jiu-jitsu. They're gonna show him enough.
Yeah, well,
in a week.
Nah, that's not enough.
In a week, because he don't have no job. He's a celebrity, so all he gotta do is practice for a week. You gotta go deal with them little knothead kids and go home and take care of business at home.
Yeah,
while he's getting strong.
He's getting strong in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, man, only take a week.
Nah. You got to
remember, he's a seasoned athlete.
Yeah, he's seasoned.
He knows already how to win.
In boxing, but that doesn't translate like fighters, even high-level fighters in the UFC. That doesn't translate to jiu-jitsu tournament winners. Even high-level jiu-jitsu tournament winners doesn't translate to UFC champions. Now, in order to be a high-level fighter, you must
be seasoned.
You must have good submission defense. Like, there's no question around that. If you don't, you will be tested because someone will get the takedown. And once you're on the ground, man, like I see it all the time. Once you get down on the ground, people panic. You panic. And now a regular person, when they get you on the ground, they might try to, if they're not trying to control you first and they're just trying to hit you, right? A regular person, once you're getting hit and they're just hitting you, is what we call a scramble. You're trying to get up, you're using force, you're using this, but, if you have somebody who knows what's going on, and we're talking about from the top position, so you're on your back and they're on top of you, and and if you're on your back and you don't know what you're doing, against somebody who does know what's going on, man, it's a wrap. It really is a wrap because they're not even gonna worry about hitting you yet. They're just gonna control you and just feel your weight because they already know your options. Like that's the thing about jiu-jitsu is like math. Like we study each position. Okay, if you're turning to your left trying to get up, or if you're turning to your right trying to get up, if you're just pushing straight up, if you're just trying to push yourself down from the ground and get up, like if you're on the side and maybe trying to like slide out, like it doesn't like it's like math. Whatever way you're trying to get up,
you got to counter for
it. That position has been studied.
Okay. So is there any way to get out of a hold?
Yeah, you have several different ways.
Is there a way to get out of an arm bar?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have your shoulder intact.
Yes, and have your shoulder, just depending on, once you get there. But once they lock everything up,
is it worth it? Is that match worth losing use of your shoulder for the next 6 months?
Now, if you're standing up, most wrestlers or fighters, usually when you get caught in the arm bar is because, let's say the person is on the ground, right? If you know jiu-jitsu and you're on your back, and someone is just trying to punch you.
Okay,
They're on top of you and they're just trying to punch you.
Well, that's a different situation because now they're off balance trying to hit you with punches.
Yeah, and the person on the bottom is going to go for the arm bar. Now, when they go for that arm bar, if you're strong enough, you can try to lift them up and then slam them down, you know. But you wasted energy, and you risk the fact that you could go in deeper, because the whole idea of the arm bar is that your arm is straight like this, and then the hips, it's locked, and then you have your hips pushing up. Your hips push up, and that's what breaks right here. Yeah, just, and it's easy because of, just the leverage. Your body has it down, and your hips just extend up. Only thing you're doing is just pushing. That's it. And then it's an easy break. It doesn't even require that much strength.
What, 18 pounds, something like that?
Yeah, and you figure when you have the arm against your chest and you're using your body, you're using all of the force of your body, so you're generating, who knows how much. It's probably, and I'm sure they do know, it's probably like 20 or 30 pounds. It could even be 50, but guys like Butch Howes, man, like guys like that who are, they're strong trying to do it,
Yeah.
So, yeah. But chokes, all of that stuff, man, it's counters. Like, you learn the counters so that you can get out of it. So.
Yeah.
And, some of the things that I like to do is I like to make my opponent think that they have me in a position so that they can exert a lot of energy.
I gotta come see you fight one day, man.
Yeah, man, you gotta come down.
And I am not going to get out on that floor.
Nah, come down, man, and Periscope.
And I'm not going to.
He said, I'm not going to get down.
I'm not going to get in there. You're not going to use me to show me no move.
Nah.
Oh, we're not going to hurt you. I know you're not, because I'm not getting out there.
Yeah, man, you gotta come down, man, and watch, so that way you can see, which a lot of the guys, man, they're pretty good, man. I'm rusty, so, but I train, man. I do train, so.
Well,
yeah.
The only thing is, people don't fight anymore.
No, they don't.
They use weapons.
Yeah. Yep. Guns.
No, like your homeboy had a shank.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got one arm, but I'm pop, 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 pop.
Yeah. But see, man, that's the thing. Like, once you, when you go, man.
Know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Know who you go up against. It's so many martial artists been popped.
Yeah.
Because you can't let nobody know what you're gonna do to them.
Yeah.
You flip out and do cartwheels, and then you go Bruce Lee style.
Yeah. Man, but see, and man, jiu-jitsu just exposed all of that, man. And jiu-jitsu is not the end all be all, but it's definitely a good foundation. Like, there's good things in all of those martial arts, but.
Is there Japanese jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, and it's different. It's different from Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and that's what the Gracies brought to the world, That's what they brought to the world.
So, could a Brazilian jiu-jitsu master beat a Japanese?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Is it the weight factor, or is it just different techniques?
Yeah, it's different techniques. The Japanese jiu-jitsu, they have the same type of belt system. I think maybe they have a couple more, right? But so you always have brown and then black, right? So a brown belt in Japanese jiu-jitsu usually loses to a white belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And we had, we run tournaments all the time, and we had a Japanese jiu-jitsu guy. He was a brown belt in Japanese jiu-jitsu. He came into one of our tournaments, right?
He gonna teach y'all a lesson.
He spent, to be a brown belt, you had to spend years, several.
I understand you're a master. I seek a lesson.
Yeah, man, dude. And he was like, look, I want to face brown belts. And, And I know because we have some jiu-jitsu listeners. I already know right now, as soon as I said that they entered into the tournament and he wanted to face some brown belts, they already started laughing because it's nowhere near. And you think, this guy's spending.
So they said, okay, we want you to prove yourself first. We'll let you go up against one of our 2-year white belts.
Nah, but see, Butch, he doesn't try to like sugarcoat anything. He's like, look, man, if you, if you want to sign up to the brown belt division, go ahead. But everybody else is like, nah, man, maybe you should, just kind of get warmed up a little bit, and, but nah, he went up against the purple belts. Purple belts in jiu-jitsu are vicious. Like, especially if you don't know any jiu-jitsu, like, yeah, man, they are vicious. Like, it's.
So a purple belt can beat a black belt Japanese.
Oh, yeah, hands down. Yeah, a blue belt can beat a black belt.
Y'all. So, why is this the best kept secret in the world then, man?
Well, it was developed late. You figure it's a relative new art, so that's why, and it was tested. Like, the difference between the other ones is that it was tested against those other styles. It was the only martial arts that was tested against other styles in adjusted form. It was, and that's what makes the difference. Whereas, like, all those old school martial arts, yes, they're dangerous. Like, I don't want it to seem like, they're not dangerous, especially if you don't know anything. Yes, they are dangerous. If you don't know anything and you go against somebody who knows Taekwondo or anything, like, look, man, you might, and that's the thing, you might have a hard time. But see, the thing with Taekwondo is they only go against Taekwondo guys. When Taekwondo guys used to form into their groups and go around to different gyms, they would go around and they would all follow the same rules. Like, okay, we're going to fight, but if you grab me, we'll stop, right? And then because that's the way usually a fight goes. Like, even at a high level in jiu-jitsu, like, if I get into a fight with Mike Tyson and he's starting to land those blows, bang, bang, pop, 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 I'm trying to get in.
You're going to grab him.
Right? I can't get the takedown. I'm going to try to grab him, right? And I'm not thinking about any type of technique. I'm not thinking of a single leg, an ankle pick. Like, I'm not thinking of any of that. I'm just like, Frankenstein. And that's the thing, like, jiu-jitsu was tested against different styles. Jiu-jitsu artists went to a Taekwondo school and was like, your master.
I seek a lesson.
Yeah, like, look.
Whoop my ass.
Yeah, whoop my ass. I give 30, and they even gave the Gracie challenge, 30,000 to anyone who could come into the gym and beat a jiu-jitsu guy. You get 30 grand if you could come in and win.
Okay, so can I pick the person I'm gonna fight?
Yeah, they all.
So can I pick a first day white belt?
Nah, you was only, man, you was going against black belts. Sometimes they would give you purple belts. And in Brazil, they even had white belts fighting.
So let me ask you, there's this martial art from Africa that they do in Brazil.
Capoeira, I think, is that it?
Okay, isn't jiu-jitsu, doesn't it impart some of those unique?
No, because capoeira is more like
kicks.
Kicks and dancing.
Acrobat and flipping over you.
Yeah, flipping and,
doing monkey grinds on you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's more of that, whereas jiu-jitsu is just a grappling art, and its strength lies in being on the bottom, being, in a bad position.
And using it against your opponent because they think they got you.
Yeah, because they think that they have you. And that's what you saw a lot, man. Guys, let's say they, like a wrestler, if you're real strong, you're going to take me down, right? And when you take me down, it's like taking an alligator into 15 feet of water. It's like...
Wrong.
Yeah,
Now, you may have a fighting chance if you draw him on land.
Right.
And you tie his tail and you tape his mouth shut.
Right.
You may have a fighting chance with an alligator that way.
Yeah.
But in the water...
Yeah, but especially deeper water. Like I said, man, it's not just you got an alligator in 4 feet, but no, you taking a jiu-jitsu master down is like taking an alligator in like 15, 20 feet of water. It's like
I can take him down.
and that's what you get, guys who don't initiate. Like when they take you down, they get up and they like, no, get up. I'm not going down there. No, get up.
Nah, we gonna do this.
Yeah, get up.
Throw your dukes up.
Yeah, like get up. Yeah, we going box it out, you know. So yeah, man, like, and it was created for non-athletes. Like the guy who did it, Helio Gracie, like he wasn't as fit.
He wasn't a big guy.
He wasn't a big guy at all. He wasn't big. Even Hoist Gracie, when Hoist won, you know, like he was beating guys that weren't big. Like he was beating guys that were bigger than him. You know, It's made where you don't have to have, like right now in sport jiu-jitsu, yes, you got to have some strength, you know, those guys, because they know the technique and they're strong.
So let me say this. Is there anybody who can beat the Gracies out there?
Yeah, now, yeah, because jiu-jitsu is, even when they came and they brought it to America, like with UFC and stuff, there were still other families, because there were 2 brothers. I think it was Carlos Gracie and L.U. Gracie. And Carlos taught people all out in Brazil, and they taught people. So, you know, so in Brazil, it's like really high level.
Boxing here.
Yes, just like boxing here. It's high level, and a lot of them, like they're inner city, you know, the poor, they do it. Like they do it for free. They live at the gym, you know, just like here, man.
Okay.
You know, so, and as it spread throughout the world, you know.
It was like the African bees that were set loose in South America, and it's just coming up, spread across America.
Yeah.
And so so essentially what you're telling me it's a third world art, and the ones who think they're too good for it aren't going to try it, because they think they can do kung fu.
Yeah, taekwondo, Muay Thai. I mean, you know.
Now, can a jiu-jitsu artist beat a judo artist? Can a judo artist put up a good fight against a jiu-jitsu artist?
A little. Judo is more with slams and takedowns, and those experts, like, you know, they can really mess you up, you know. But see, that's the thing, is like when you just do that, you have to stand a certain way. Your opponent has to stand a certain way.
They're willing to.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing, is it's more like a dance now, and I'm not taking anything away from it, because like Ronda Rousey, the champion, her strength is in her judo. That's her strength. Like she wins every match by arm bar.
But she's a big, thick woman.
No, she's not big.
Yeah, for women she is.
Nah, that's the one. No, not that's, you thinking of Gabby Garcia, the one I showed you. That's like.
No, there's the one who said she said Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, that one. Yep.
Yeah, she said Floyd Mayweather. I bet you know me now.
Yeah, you're right. But she's like what, she fights at 135, at 135 pounds.
That's big for a woman.
So 135 pounds, man. That's
bro. I'm 6'4". My weight is supposed to be at 6'4", 190 pounds.
Oh man. Yeah,
that's a big woman. That's what, 60 pounds less than I weigh, and I'm 6'4", and what's she, about 5'7"?
Yeah, she's probably about 5.
I'd let her win.
5'6". Oh no, she would win.
No, I would make sure she.
He said no, she gonna win.
She gonna win.
But yeah, man, let's go ahead and wrap it up, man.
A headlock.
We all gotta get up. I gotta get up for school and get back in the classroom and get spanked by my students. So, a lot of stuff was covered. Just listen, you'll figure it out, man. Let's just knock out these sponsors. We have Bo Knows Music for your online music lessons. Go there, get caught up, learn about any progression you want to learn. And it's free. So we have 3 free courses, not just lessons, but 3 free courses up there. Bo Knows Music. Go there and start today. Also brought to you by Weebly. Everybody does something, okay? But if you're not on the web, who will find out? Go to BoMiles.com or Bo Knows Music or Fidlu. Click on the Weebly link and start your website today. Last but not least, Butch Howes, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and MMA of Charleston, West Virginia. AdvancedBKJ.com. Learn the ways. Make sure that no one can disrespect you or your family and live to tell the tale. AdvancedBKJ.com. And that will be it.